the tangent being parallel to the surface.
Well, it is. You do know what a tangent is, don't you?
Yeah.
To a circle.
Yep.
Good. Well, actually, I don't think you do, actually. You've demonstrated many times you don't, but we'll go through it again. Hopefully people know what a tangent to a circle looks like.
Yeah.
And therefore, that is at the point of contact that the tangent and the horizontal are the same thing. So you could say they're both parallel to one another, but the horizontal and tangent are the same thing at a point on the Earth. If you change where you are on the Earth, you get a different tangent and a different horizontal.
What about the circle, though?
Is it a straight line, though?
Is the circle parallel to the tangent?
Is a circle parallel to the tangent? Well, a circle's is a curve. You've got to pick on a point. A tangent, that doesn't really make much sense. You can have a tangent to any point on the curve of a circle. That point, the gradient or the slope of the curve of the circle, if you like, is the same as the tangent by definition. That's how a tangent is defined. It's the gradient of the curve at that one point where the line just touches a circle.
So
that is a tangent.
Parallel?
And that parallel to what?
The surface. Parallel to the tangent.
Well, the tangent is defined. It's like, say, asking if something's parallel to itself.
What?
You don't understand what a tangent is, do you?
What he'll do, what the technique is they'll come in, they'll try to propose an answer to one of these unsolvable riddles, and then as soon as you try to object on some point of lunacy that they've made, they make it about, how you're so stupid and you don't understand. And then when anyone else tries to chime in to make it worse, is that you get a triggered flat earther that's like, how does this guy not see that, or whatever the fucking conversation is. And then they try to get in it. And then once you've got two flat earthers against Rumpus, now he plays the victim.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's like, but this is what I'm saying, is like anyone who's still playing along with the charade, you're just airing out and giving them what they want.
You don't understand the basics. When I say gradient, you don't understand what I mean. You don't understand the basics. The fact you don't understand... I don't understand what Kosher is, what I just said. You didn't understand what a gradient was. And the fact you don't understand this, that Bev doesn't understand the basics. So you don't understand what you don't understand what gradient means. But of course you don't understand what Kosher's point is. Did you not understand what I said? I mean, my God. Are you that stupid? You don't understand what I mean by gradient. So you don't understand what you don't understand what gradient means. Then. Really, this dense, you don't understand what I'm trying to say. You seem incapable of understanding simple things. You don't understand the basics. So you don't understand what you don't understand what gradient means. Then I think people understand what I mean by the gradient. It's going a slope. It's got a gradient of about 45 degrees here. You don't understand. But of course you don't understand this, so I don't. Right, so Armour understood exactly the point that I was making. You don't understand what a tangent is. It's not my problem if you don't want to learn. You're just on your own. Well, I've explained it in very basics, very precisely, very explicitly, and yet Bev will deliberately attempt to either misunderstand it or his IQ so low he's incapable of understanding. I mean, you don't understand what a tangent is, do you? I mean, you don't understand the basics. For someone who claims to know about geometry, you don't understand the basics. They misunderstanding, you see. This is the problem with this guy. He doesn't understand what I'm trying, but Bev doesn't understand this because he's a moron. But you do understand. I can only do that understand the basics, don't you? And clearly Bev doesn't understand it has a gradient. I think most of the panel understand what I mean by the gradient of the curve. You don't. I don't understand what Kosher's point is. The fact that you don't understand this is just unbelievable. You didn't understand what a gradient was, did you? You then have to say, well, what's a gradient? I think most people understand what I'm saying if they're not trying to willfully misunderstand. I don't understand what Kosher's point is. It's not my problem if you don't want to learn. You're just on your own. Typical of you, when you're using everyday terms, apparently you don't understand what they mean. Now, I don't know whether you do this deliberately to misunderstand what you're being told, or whether you're just stupid. You don't understand the basics. A child of about 10 or 11 could understand. I don't understand what Kosher is. He's deliberately, willfully misunderstanding me, or he's really stupid. And you don't understand that at a tangent point, there is a gradient. You don't understand the basics. No, you don't, because there's a gradient at that point of a tangent. you don't understand what a tangent is, do you? You don't. You're a moron. Because a point on a curve has a gradient. But don't you understand? It doesn't matter how much you zoom in. Well, because I'm having to deal with people who seem to be willfully trying to misunderstand me. And if that's the case, I believe that's a disruptive behaviour. There's something a Ben doesn't understand, so everybody else tries. There's something a Ben doesn't understand, so everybody else tries. You don't understand what tangent is, do you? It's not my problem if you don't want to learn. You just don't. You don't understand what I mean by grade. You don't understand what a tangent is. Understand the basics. Don't you understand? No reason, no logic, no wisdom, no worry. You don't understand what tangents are, basically. What you're doing. You're just on your own. I don't understand what Cauchy's point is. No reason, no logic, no answers to questions. You're just on your own. You don't understand geometry, do you? You don't understand simple geometry. You don't understand what a tangent is. I mean, you're incredible. Oh my God. Okay, you're too stupid. Anyway, I've got to go to bed. Ben's stupid, and well done, Armour. You understood. I don't understand what Cauchy's point is.
No, I'm a Glober, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you understand geometry and Ben doesn't.
I was about to put
Anyway, I'm off to bed. Well done.
And we are live. Welcome, everyone. I'm going to have to start getting all of those things back on the go, aren't I? You know, we are live and all that. Welcome. This is Wednesday, and again, I'm sort of freestyling it, but not really, because Logos keeps giving me these little things. I have been out for a conversation with the flat earthers this morning. We'll get round to that in a bit. It's been a bit of a all go. We've had a surveyor, I think he's a globe surveyor, in today, talking to him for a good couple of hours, really. I mean, we didn't know that these people existed around here. I mean, here we are talking about our tests and geometry and logic. You know, really, I think we've been exposing the globe surveyors for years. I think we started it. I think we were the originators of exposing globe surveyors, making them say stupid shit that they can't really back, and then they have to leave. But just recently, we've been, you know, Terence Howard has brought around this thing where...
That's a ruined your introduction, but I'm still here. I haven't gone anywhere.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're back again. Welcome. This is, I don't know, sorry. I can't see your name because I've got streamer mode on. And I don't think you've actually changed your name from your original, have you? So it says that they're all truncated. All I can see is D ... So the surveyor, globe surveyor, is still here, apparently. But anyway, we're talking about recently about since Terence Howard brought around the straight line, questioning the straight line, and Whitsitt seemed to agree with him that he, you know, there was no such thing as straight lines. I thought it was very strange, and it's been going over in my mind for quite a bit, you know, how a straight line can be considered different. And it took me back to when we did the Trivium stuff with Raven, which we are going to have to go back over. It seems like it's a different time when we went over all of that sort of stuff. And I guess that there's a lot of people that weren't around when we were actually doing that. And hopefully we can go back over them, because I think that's where we should be, really. That's where we were meant to be all along. But it seems like these models and the model affliction has sort of it's got us gripped, but for the wrong reasons. I think we were on the right path back then. So this is a sort of an attempt for me to take it back to that. I think Logos has handed us Raven again, really, to tell us get back to the roots, which is what we're doing here. There's a problem with straight, but straight would be at the beginning of the definitions. It's an element. There's nothing really that comes before straight within the concepts or understanding of whatever it is, right? So straight being an element becomes tricky when people like Terence Howard and Whitsitt start saying that straight doesn't exist. But we've been dealing with that sort of thing over the years anyway. You know, the idea of perpendicular being, I said, like at the beginning, it's one of the proofs for straight. The fact that it's two straight lines in this relationship, and you can't have all of the right angles being equal unless you do indeed have straight lines. So these basic mathematical systems end up proving themselves in a self-contained system. And the perpendicular is the first proof of the straight line. You require the lines to be straight for all of those angles, the right angles, to be equal. There's four of them. It divides into quadrants, if you will. And those right angles, obviously, are proof of the straight line. You can't have four equal angles if the lines aren't straight. It would be impossible. So it's a self-contained proof. And obviously, there's a what we call it. I don't know whether it's classed as a dilemma or a problem or whatever, but there is the false dichotomy is once again exposed as having to contain I call it a contradiction, for having things to be perpendicular but the same as perpendicular but different than perpendicular, understanding with the straight. Well, if perpendicular is the proof of straight, then I don't see how you can have a different type of perpendicular. But the guys within this arena that we've been saying false dichotomy, they have to have perpendicular both the same and different, which is a problem.
Well, logically, going back to why we were talking about Raven and the trivium, logically it's a problem, right? Because you can't have, there's a thing in logic called the law of non-contradiction, and also the law of identity, and you cannot have a perpendicular be both perpendicular and not perpendicular. So that would be a definite problem, you would think.
Well,
right?
I mean, you could just get rid of logic as
you could
as one of
try
the options.
to do that.
Yeah. Flat Earthers could take to that option.
Yes,
which they will do later in the in the little clip that we've got coming up. It's not a little clip; it's about 40 minutes. But conversation with people. We have conversations with lots of different people. Oh, he's gone. Oh dear. Our surveyor friend has disappeared. Like we say, we've been having a conversation with him earlier today, and he also has this problem, the perpendicular problem. Oh, he's back again, in and out. So like we say, both sides of the false dichotomy have this problem. Now you'll be able to go over this yourself, right? I mean, this is one of those things that it's a personal thing. I mean, I can't give you any advice on how you're going to take this, because obviously you can take it however you want, but these are just problems that are caused by I'd say a model. If you take a model on, and along with that model there is incorporated some sort of a contradiction that you must accept in order to join this thing, this group, if you will, which is what most people in this arena, they do. They want you to pick a side. Well, if both of those sides incorporate contradictions, and it can be shown that they both have a similar problem, then why should anybody actually take on one of these contradictions to join either side? And that's where we come from. You know, we're just on the level. We just live in reality. And, you know, there's a few things that we have to set out at the beginning here, right? Me, Bev, and I don't know where to speak for most people, but horizontal and vertical, they're perpendicular in the understanding that, because we've gone over it, Euclidean geometry, the elements, the foundations of mathematics as we know it, has a definition of perpendicular being two straight lines. Now we know that those straight lines can also fit into planes. They work, there's a different analog, right? 2D, 3D, planes, lines. Perpendicular means the same in both. So this Euclidean geometry is our understanding of how things work, and construction, right angles, all of that sort of stuff comes from the fundamentals. Also, within a compass, north and south and east and west, they are also perpendicular. Now that perpendicular of north, south, east and west is the same perpendicular of horizontal and vertical. There's no difference in my understanding of the understanding of perpendicular as it relates to those things. As with anything, as you say perpendicular, if you're saying perpendicular, then you're saying they're either straight lines or planes, and straight lines within planes. That's how this understanding works. Now, as you will go over this tonight, you'll see that you might have to think differently about those straight lines and the relationship from one to the other. Which line is perpendicular? Well, you can't really tell. They're both perpendicular because it's a relationship of one straight line to the other. Now, both of those two straight lines have the relationship perpendicular with the other one. But they're required to be straight in order for you to say that with perpendicular. Now, people will say, like we've got on the screen there, that the words are different. There's a new understanding of perpendicular for modern day understanding. But I don't know how you can change that. Like, that would literally mean you to change the understanding of what perpendicular is at its very core definition, the foundations of geometry, mathematics. Let me get this thing ready. So yeah, it's getting harder and harder for us to have conversations. The flat earth debate guys have banned us from their Discord because we were talking about straight, and you know, they can't have this conversation about perpendicular. Flat earthers struggle with this one even more, I think, than the globe guys, because I don't know whether they you know, well, actually we've never really heard what the flat earthers say, because they've just stopped answering questions. I don't know. You'll see anyway when we start talking to the other guys in a bit. Let me get this thing up. All right, guys. Right, so I went round to politics and religion Discord server. I don't know whether we can get that link. This isn't the politics server, because the 24/7 guys on politics server, they banned us. Like Flat Earth Debate have banned us. When I say us, I mean just me. They can't. They think I'm a troll for some reason, but like I say, we just have conversations, and they seem to have something against us. And so what I do, I went over there. You see whether we can invite people. Copy. Can somebody get this into the YouTube? Politics and religion. There, it's on screen. If anybody's in for wants to go and have conversations with people, this is another one of those servers that I don't know why Flat Earth has managed to make it into politics and religion, but for some reason they want to try and inject Flat Earth into politics and religion. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but that's what they're doing apparently. So they're all over there, and I was just over there because there's a ranking up system that you need to do, and I consider if you go into these places, you need to be able to post pictures and stuff. So there's a time limit that you have to be in there before you can post pictures. So I was just sat around listening in, hoping to build up those hours or whatever, so I can actually post pictures over there. And then once I can post pictures, I'll be able to join in conversations, and show people the things that we've done. But I can't do that. So I was just sat in there, and as I'm sat in there, the guys over there called my name out. They wanted to have a chat. So I obviously came off the mic and had a chat with them. Here we go. This is right, guys. Can you hear that?
Yep.
Yeah, all good.
Okay, here we go. I feel privileged for you to let me in here.
You even got an introduction.
How you been?
I thought we'd say hello. Yeah. I've noticed you've been here a few days, actually.
Yeah, I can't post pictures. It's not much use for me coming over here to have a chat if I can't post pictures, is it? So I take that's a time thing.
I think you.
Is it, or do you guys?
Yeah, I think that you'll
level up a little bit.
Yeah, you'll get access later, man.
What do you guys think about the attack on Straight?
The attack on it. What is it? What do you mean?
Well, people are saying that there's no straight lines. That they don't. Have you heard the Terrence Howard thing? I mean, it's everywhere at the minute, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I heard it before Terrence Howard. There was just a gentleman right before you came in saying the same. Like, do you think lines are straight? Like they were doing it last night too.
Oh,
Listen,
Winsett
man,
said
I
as
think.
well he agrees with him. So it's
Whoa.
it's a lot further than just that. I mean,
You know what it is?
it's perpendiculars. That's the problem.
Here's the thing. Our eyeballs work a weird way. The air works a weird way, right? So my thing is why would they declare something weird like that when everywhere we know as a little kid on the paper that we drew on, it had horizontal lines all the way down it, all the way. I don't think there's any problem having a horizontal line. I don't think there's a problem having a perfect line. I don't think when
This
you
is
actually zoom
Democ. If
in,
anybody
all
doesn't know
lines are
who
doing
this
what you
is,
think
this
they're
is
doing.
Democ, and
Just
there's
like
all
when
this
you look,
nonsense coming.
yeah.
It's perception, isn't it? Like, because
hard
you
to
know
understand
that
what
horizontal
you're
and
talking about.
vertical, they are perpendicular. But there's also a claim that latitude and longitude are perpendicular.
I would
Now,
even say beyond that,
flat
brother.
earthers
Beyond that.
and globe earthers have a different opinion on latitude and longitude being perpendicular. Whereas I don't think they have a different opinion of horizontal and vertical being perpendicular. So it's a misunderstanding of the word,
100%.
or it's diletheism sort of spreading into modern society. I don't know which, but people
No,
seem
it's
unable
both.
to talk about it.
It's both. And when you zoom in on things and we look at these lines and they say, oh, when you zoom in on a line so microscopic, that's not really you. That's not really what that is. The lens is made a certain way. Your eyeball's designed a certain way.
Right, so here, Democ, I've just said people have a problem talking about perpendicular, and Democ here is explaining how people have a problem talking about perpendicular by saying zooming into a line, which, I don't think that's perpendicular. That's not what people do, and they don't talk about your eyes or anything, which Democ's doing, which is the normal fare. That's why I said that people have a problem talking about it. They have people to run this distraction, obfuscation for them, and that's what Democ does. That's his job. I don't know why they allow him in there, but apparently this is 24/7 flat earth. This is the face of flat earth that they want to be pushing.
They say you got cones and rods. If you got cones and rods and you're looking at a beautiful horizontal line and you do something weird and zoom in and this and that, who's to say you're not just perceiving more of the cone rod imaging of your own fucking perception
I think
of
you're
your
missing the thing, right?
No, I'm not.
Latitude
No,
and
you are.
longitude are perpendicular.
No, I'm not talking about that.
Are they?
I'm not talking about that.
Do you think
I'm not talking
latitude
about
and
that.
longitude
I'm not
are
talking about that.
perpendicular or not?
Can you hear me, brother? I'm talking about when 50 dudes came in here last night and saying there's no straight line or no circle line. They say neither one of them are right. They say that when you zoom in on a line, that it's not perfectly horizontal. It waves up and down like you said to begin with Terrence Howard, young man.
No, this is
right?
about, like I said, it's about perpendicular.
Holy motherfucker, dude. I don't think you're okay.
There's no need for you to go like this. It's all right. It's just about perpendicular.
Yeah, it's no need for you to not make any sense. Can you hear what I'm fucking saying, brother?
North and south and east
No.
and west, they're
No,
perpendicular.
lines on a paper. No, brother. Nobody's going north and
They're
south.
not.
Fuck all that
Are
garbage.
you saying
Listen.
they're not perpendicular?
Holy motherfucker. Fuck perpendicular. Goofy. Listen to what I'm saying. These globers say a line can't be perfectly straight. They say it's curving. No matter what the fuck you think, they say a line is curving,
And
whether it's
Wixit
straight
too.
or horizontal.
Except Wixit
They
says
also
it's
say that
because of waves
dude,
and
you
frequency.
shut up. Nobody's stuck on your stupid shit. Just wait a minute. They say that every fucking line you zoom in on, when you zoom in with a microscope and stop fucking talking over this point like you can't understand it, they say it's not a perfect fucking line. They say it's wave.
So this is the sort of person that you meet whenever you go into these rooms. Remember, we are talking about straight and the attack on straight from Terrence Howard and Witzer. But Democ's more interested in getting a microscope and zooming in. Like, I'd say that Democ doesn't understand what straight is, and he's running distraction here with this. Just talking, waffling. But this is flat earth. This is, how hard it is to communicate with flat earthers. They have banned me, because they don't want to have conversations. This apparently is the type of thing that flat earthers want to talk about.
Not the words you're saying, perpendicular, goof troop. Not big fucking huge lines we can draw with paint and a roller.
Yeah,
Stupid.
please,
I'm talking about when they fucking
adult.
zoom in with a
He
microscope.
does
They're
swear
saying
a lot. Are
they're
the
saying that fucking line's waving.
insults really necessary?
I don't know, motherfucker. Why do you keep talking about perpendicular and horizontal stupid shit that
That's
I'm
what
not
I
talking
said. There's
about?
a problem with it.
No, there's not
And
a
I said
problem with
people
anything.
can't talk about it, and you're doing exactly the thing that, you know,
Oh my
I was
god, brother.
proving at the beginning.
No, you didn't prove shit. You're talking to yourself. You haven't proved fuck. Talking to people is not proving shit. Get the fuck out there with your strings and your levels and put a rise and
Prove
a
that
run
you
and
can't
stand
talk
by it.
about perpendicular.
And just stand by it.
Haven't I?
You don't know what that is, apparently.
Yeah, I think we should move on, guys. It's getting a bit tedious already. Let's not get caught up on perpendicular. Let's not get caught up on these semantical.
Only Globers are caught up on that. Now, I was talking about a straight line, and Glober's calling a straight line and a curved line the same fucking thing.
No,
So
I'm
if I make
saying
a microscopic
Globers
line,
think that latitude and longitude are perpendicular. I don't believe the
they
flat
think they're
earthers do.
curving, not perpendicular or parallel or horizontal or vertical. They don't line up at all. A curve doesn't do any of that. There
I
are no
know.
fucking
And
perpendicular.
flat
So
earthers
what are
think
you
east
asking
and
dumb
west
fucking
is a
questions about, bro?
circle. Don't
Where's
they?
the circle at? Where?
Flat earthers
There ain't no
think
circles.
east and west is a
No
circle.
circles. No, there ain't no
Oh, they
circles.
don't. Okay, fair enough.
No, I said there ain't no circles in nature unless you draw one out.
Right, so this again, this is Denmark representing the flat earthers over at the 24/7 flat earth room within the politics and religion server. We are talking about straight. And as I've just said, I mean, we did have a conversation with Flat Earth Math on Friday about perpendicular, and he said that latitude and longitude are perpendicular. All I'm asking is the flat earthers whether they think that longitude and latitude are perpendicular, because if they are different, then surely everybody could prove that, couldn't you? If they both think different things, then the one that is true will be the one that works. Surely, flat earth, globe earth, if they think differently, that would be provable. But there's a complication, because these two model afflicted groups have a similar geometric problem concerning perpendicular. And the idea was to go in there to show that people can't talk about this. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you're a globe earther or a flat earther. If you've got a model, then you will find it difficult to talk about this particular subject: perpendicular, geometry, logic. And this is the complications of talking to a flat earther or a globe earther about perpendicular.
How would you know that that they can't talk about it? Because you can hear the words coming out. Would it be because the one person was using some choice language and seemingly calling you a bunch of names, and the other person, rather than stopping that, was asking for you to stop the what they called semantics?
Yeah.
Would that be an example of how you can't have a conversation? Because many people would listen to that and go, Bev, of course they're having a conversation. You hear the words, they're speaking words. I mean, yeah, they're having a conversation, but are they really?
Yeah.
Or are they getting triggered and emotional because you asked a question?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult, right? These questions that we ask obviously require extra levels of thought, because there are implications that come along with them. And we're just talking about perpendicular. Now, we know that horizontal and vertical are perpendicular. And we know that north, south, east, and west, we know that they are perpendicular. But the globe guys have said that longitude and latitude are also perpendicular. We know that the flat earthers have circles. So therefore the flat earthers can't have them being perpendicular. And that's a definite difference. But the globe earth guys allow the flat earthers this, because the flat earthers will also allow the globe earthers this particular little thing. So they've got like a mutual understanding. And this is the way that they have these conversations. Remember, these guys invited me into a conversation and I just tried to start talking about straight. And, you know, the complications. I mean, if they worked out what the complications are, perhaps they don't think there is any complications. Perhaps they think that me pointing out that there might be complications is actually the complication for them, and they want to just dismiss it to pretend that there isn't any complications. Is east and west not a circle?
All right, I'm going to take the bait. I'm going to take the bait. So on a plane with a magnetic center, if you was to go east, eventually you would start circling the magnetic north. What's the point here?
So in that case, north and south and east and west cannot be perpendicular, right? Cannot be. If east and west is a circle.
No, it's the fact that they're not straight lines, but from your position where you are, you can say, yes, east is perpendicular to north. But as soon as you start traveling, it...
So, there's your first concession. Go back 10 seconds. Listen to this again.
No, it's the fact that they're not straight lines, but from your position where you are, you can say, yes, east is perpendicular to north. But...
So they're not, it's admitted, they're not straight lines, but you can say they are perpendicular. That's...
from your position. I don't know what your position has to do with it necessarily. And then if you travel, somehow that changes. Traveling somehow changes the relationship between what this person thinks is a perpendicular situation.
He just said they're not straight, but they're perpendicular.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Perpendicular is straight, so that's slightly contradictory. And he's just admitted it there, right? Yes, but, and then something different. But except he said there that they're not straight, but perpendicular.
So I posted a picture in the live chat, and I also sent you a direct message, Bev.
Yeah.
Might explain.
You can see that. Yeah, that's the flat Earth circle. That's why. The flat Earth
not a flat Earth. That is not a flat Earth circle.
Yeah,
that's on a globe. No, that's on a globe.
But that's the flat Earth circle. That's the east-west of flat Earth.
That's not
why they can't be perpendicular.
That is from a globe.
Thank you. That's the flat Earth, though. We're talking to the flat Earther, so thank you very much. Is that
this is from the globe?
That's a long latitude line, is it? The circle one. That's a latitude.
Yeah, I'll post a zoomed out picture of what I just zoomed in from. Maybe that'll clear things up.
No, I think this is great. I think this is very clear. Yeah. We just for clarification, the red, what appears to be a circle, it's a little bit of a dent in the circle on either side, but that's okay. That you would say is a latitude line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're both circles.
Yeah. Again, one more time. The red, what appears to be a circle in the center, that would be latitude, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, Thank you.
That's exactly what we're saying to the flat Earth.
But the green line is also a circle.
That's fine. We're focusing on the red circle.
The fact of this, that they cannot be perpendicular because one of them is a circle, right? But as Flat Earth Math said on Friday round here, longitude and latitude are perpendicular on the globe, aren't they?
No, they at a single reference point they're 90 degrees.
Oh no!
At a
See,
single
this gets
reference
even
point,
more complicated now, because Flat Earth
at a
Maths
single
was
reference point,
absolutely adamant that they were perpendicular on Friday.
I've been over this with you like
He'd
4
be
times
calling
today.
names and stuff, right? In fact, he might even be calling.
I haven't called
you.
I haven't called you any names.
Yeah, but judging by what you're saying, right? If you were saying that here on Friday to Flat Earth Math,
I wasn't
he
on Friday.
would be calling you a flat earther.
I don't care.
Okay.
Well, that'd
You
be
don't care.
silly because I'm not a flat earther.
Okay, so they're not perpendicular. Longitude and latitude are not perpendicular. We can definitely say that, right? That's one of the things.
Yes,
okay.
At a single reference point, though, they are 90 degrees separated.
It can't be at a point. It's not. You can't have a relationship
at a single
2 straight lines at a point, because the point is not 2 straight lines. You need 2 straight lines to have perpendicular. It's a necessary.
I think that's the piece that's coming out here, and what we wanted to have come out. So I think we got to it pretty quickly. We'll probably get to it in the discussion you're having with the other circle guys over there at the Flat Earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but the idea is here. Let's just
sorry
do
to interrupt,
this.
but don't forget that this seems to be repurposed. Well, this seems to be repurposed rhetoric. Because haven't we heard it's only the water level is only horizontal at a point?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at a point. Yeah, it's always at a point.
Yeah, we had the center point.
That's
earlier.
geometrically not right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see. Let's see.
Well, we've already had a conversation with the globe surveyor earlier, and he had the center point being the horizontal, which maybe we'll hear see what the flat earthers think. Because remember, we're talking about east and west circles here, not horizontals, right? We are literally just talking about a geometric problem that the flat earthers have. About
Before we do that, though,
Bev, in that discussion, you assume that elevation, if you had a constant elevation, that you'd have a horizontal line. You assume that. So that means that you are, in fact, a flat earther. If you assume that if you stay at the same elevation, you stay on a horizontal line, you are assuming a flat earth.
No. If you're just assuming that horizontals don't change elevation, right? That's in that discussion that we had earlier.
You got it backwards.
There's no slope to a horizontal. Does not mean you're a flat earther. That's ridiculous.
You got it backwards. If you think that if you stay at the constant elevation, you're staying on a horizontal line, you are asserting a flat earth.
No, I'm not. I'm saying it's definitely not a flat earth because we use the horizontal to measure elevation changes, i.e. how not flat it is.
Right. So if you stay at a constant 25-meter elevation, are you staying and you travel along that 25-meter elevation, are you traveling on a horizontal line?
Yes.
Or a curved line?
Yes, there's no slope to a horizontal. How many times I have to say this? This is definite. There is no slope to a horizontal.
So you are asserting that if you stay at the same elevation and travel along and stay at that same elevation, you are not following an elevation curve. You are asserting that elevation stays at the same, is flat, is horizontal. You're asserting that. If you said elevation is a reference to sea level, which means you are saying that the sea, like the oceans, do not in fact curve with the earth. You are asserting
that. They go
that.
up and down. That's why we have to establish a mean. I've gone over this many times with all of the flat earthers, right? How we establish a mean to understand that the point is on the vertical datum and we reference elevations to that point. In the UK,
you are asserting the flat earth theory that elevation does not curve with the earth.
The earth is not flat. Right? Get that
You
in,
are
get it out.
asserting
Like,
that
you're
it
not
is.
going to recruit us
You are-
into your weird
you
little
are-
cult. I'm telling you right now, the Earth is not flat. Not.
So if you stay at a
Not
constant
flat.
elevation, you are not staying on the flat line. So elevation, if you are staying at a current elevation, you're not staying on a flat line.
I'm making a brew. What was that you were saying?
If your elevation, if you
Look,
keep your
look,
elevation
we're
static,
talking to flat
unchanging,
earthers, right?
or
And we're
you,
going to talk about flat earthers and how they're wrong. They have geometric problems. Now, you're not going to try
I'm
and
asserting
recruit
that
me
you
into
are
a
a
flat
flat
earth
earther.
group, are you?
I'm sorry, but then you either elevation doesn't follow.
Can I just check?
Either
Can I
follow
just
a
check?
flat
You're not coming
baseline.
here onto our live show to try and recruit me into a flat earth.
I'm not trying to recruit you.
Good.
I'm trying to recruit you
Right,
into
so we are
the
both in
model.
agreement that the Earth is not flat, right?
I'm trying to either
Can
point
we
out that you are in
both
fact a flat
agree?
earther,
Can
or
we both
you will accept
agree that the Earth is not flat?
yes.
Good. Okay.
Can we
now,
both
we'll
agree
carry
that
on now then,
like if
right?
you stay
Okay.
at a static,
Can we carry on with our conversation
both
now,
agree?
please? Can we?
He's desperate to evangelize you into
Right. Well, do
one
you
of the
want to have
false
a word with him,
dichotomies.
right? Just have a word with him, and I've got to make this brew. I'm gagging.
Yeah, he wants to evangelize into one part of the false dichotomy. We've gone through this many, many, many times with many people, not just you.
So
Just
if
because
you
you say if you X, then you are Y, a flat earther, globe earther, whatever, doesn't mean that you're the definitive authority, especially when you have no idea what perpendicular is. You've proven that.
I haven't proven that.
Yes, you certainly have. Shall I read what the definition of perpendicular is according to Euclid's Elements? Have you ever read Euclid's Elements? You claim to be a land surveyor.
Two
I would
lines
think that Euclid's
intersect.
Elements. Excuse me?
Two lines that intersect at a point that create a 90-degree angle.
A90? No, not quite. You're close, but not quite. To what? To what now?
Two lines that intersect at a point that create a 90-degree
lines?
angle. Four
Two
quadrants
lines.
that would.
No, you're geometrically illiterate.
No.
Yeah. Would you like to hear the definition, or would you like
What's-
to continue
what's
to
correct?
evangelize?
Well, sure.
Okay.
What's the correct definition?
Go on mute for a moment, because your whatever's going on in the background is terrible, and we're on the live show. So I'll read you. This is Euclid's Elements, definition 10 states, when a straight line standing on another straight line makes the adjacent angles equal to one another, each of the angles is called a right angle, and the straight line, which stands on the other straight line, is called perpendicular to it. That's the definition of perpendicular. Now, your definition of perpendicular is not that definition of perpendicular. So, I'm going to trust the logical system of Euclid's Elements. Let me finish for a moment, and then I'll give you the floor. Of straight lines creating right angles, which are 90-degree angles. Now, you said lines, not straight lines. So now you carry on. Let's get your definition of perpendicular again. Or would you like to go with that one?
Oh, he's gone.
He's on mute.
Back
but
here.
Yeah, that's all right. I mean, for again, Flat Earth Math on Friday said that those. All right, that's fine. I understand you might be traveling or whatever, driving. But
I can't hear you. I'm not sure if it's my connection or your connection.
It's yours. It's yours if you can hear me.
Yours.
It's your connection. So what Flat Earth Math said on Friday was that latitude and longitude are perpendicular. However, in his mind, latitude and longitude are not straight lines. But yet the definition in Euclid's Elements is straight lines. Now, we can go to book 11 where it talks about solid geometry, and we can see that planes can also have a perpendicular relationship to one another. But this still, it doesn't eliminate the requirement of straight. And this is what Bev's trying to get at. There's a problem with the flat earthers for sure with regard to straight. We could talk about the globe earthers, and they're also I would say have a problem with straight. So it seems like everyone who wants to talk about the shape of the earth has a problem with straight. It seems to me.
And perpendicular, right? Particularly
Absolutely,
with the
because
relationship between perpendicular and straight.
Correct, because perpendicular, according to Euclid's Elements, is a relationship between two straight lines or planes.
Yeah, that's basically what I was saying. I assumed you knew I meant straight lines, and when I said intersect at a point and create 90 degrees, that's the four quadrants, and that's what would be those two planes.
But
you would
there's
have
no
four quadrants of 90 degrees.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
So,
but there's no point.
Kind of did. There is a point.
Nowhere. No, sir. No,
There is a
there's
point
not.
of intersection.
There may well be a point of intersection, but that's not part of the definition. Nowhere in the definition does it say point or at a point.
But what I was describing was two perpendicular lines.
The relationship between two straight lines. That's perpendicular.
Yeah.
Two straight lines that meet at a point and
Point is
create
irrelevant.
90,
They intersect.
four 90-degree quadrants.
They intersect.
Yeah. They intersect. Meet at a point. Meet at a point. Yeah.
They don't meet. They intersect.
There's no need for point. Why do you have to dwell on point? I'll tell you why. Because you have to have at a point. Because that's the only. You're going to then say perpendicular at a point. And there's no such thing, perpendicular at a point. There's either a relationship, perpendicular relationship between two straight lines, or there is not. Law of identity, law of non-contradiction. Also, law of excluded middle. All the logical laws. So point is irrelevant.
Yeah, which is why I said lines of latitude and longitude are not perpendicular.
Okay, well,
and
that's
on
okay.
that we agree.
That's good.
Absolutely. Perfect.
If you say they're not perpendicular, that's just your understanding
they're not.
of long. But you are aware that other people.
But I still say you have to rotate 90 degrees from north to get to east.
Are you aware that other
I still have
people might think differently?
Yeah, I'm sure
Okay,
they
well,
are.
That's what we deal with here, is the people's perceptions of similar things can be thought of differently. That's what we're particularly exploring in this place. And we're exploring tonight the model afflicted people that have a different understanding of perpendicular. It's exposed in different ways, which is what we're going over here. We're just trying to explain the flat earthers, but you're expressing that you have a problem with it too. For some reason, you have a problem with us talking about it. And we are talking about a conversation that we had earlier with flat earthers, so there's no need for you to defend the flat earthers, right? You can obviously see that the flat earthers have this problem, right? Do you even know what the problem is yet that the flat earthers have? Because that's where we're trying to get to. Is everyone all right? Do we have to go back over the conversation that we're having with the flat earthers to get to where we were? I'll do a couple of back bits. Just
a little bit back would be good. Kind of got a bit
just
derailed there.
Yeah, just to find out where we are with the with these guys, right?
A plane with a magnetic center, if you was to go east, eventually you would start circling the magnetic north. What's the point here?
So in that case, north and south and east and west cannot be perpendicular, right? Cannot be. If east and west is a circle.
No, it's the fact that they're not straight lines, but from your position where you are, you can say, yes, east is perpendicular to north. But as soon as you start traveling, it no longer becomes that because it's not a straight line.
Okay. So
Right.
like vertical and horizontal are perpendicular. The question is latitude and longitude perpendicular in the same way that horizontal and vertical are perpendicular?
From my perspective, no, it can't be. Because of what I just told you.
I know,
if you're talking about a snapshot, if you're talking about a snapshot from this position, then you can do that, yeah. But in general, they're not cardinal. Like, horizontal and vertical are the same everywhere on the Earth. Okay, that's the difference between east and west. But east and west are not obviously the same because they're all in reference to the magnetic center.
Okay. So, well, when I was talking to Flat Earth Math, he said that they are perpendicular. So it seems like there's a definite difference there between the two models.
From stationary position, he said, brother. So if you just stand there and you imagine you're getting your stuff, you're standing, okay, it's a straight line from you to that point is what they're thinking, right? But our thing is if you got a string and you keep moving like the turtle and you just keep on moving, they can't never get that because now they have an arc. They're going in a circle. Okay. It's not a straight, perpendicular, parallel, horizontal, vertical, anything.
As you can tell, Demok is an obfuscation agent, and he's been doing this for years. They think it's okay to just say words. Turtle, strings, parallel, perpendicular, straight. I mean, nonsense. But that's where he's at.
And the flat earth math, hold on 1 second. The flat earth math guy and these globers think that a horizontal line across the top of that globe is vertical. They're confusing a horizontal with their vertical also, as well as what you're saying.
Yeah. In the same way that flat earthers can't have perpendicular for latitude and longitude, it is the same way that the globe guys can't have perpendicular with vertical and horizontal, right? It's basically the same thing, just in different ways, right? So you guys should be able to understand when you were saying earlier that there is no horizontal on the globe model. Well, you can't have east and west being a straight line in the flat earth model either.
There's no in. There's not even an in on the globe model.
It's the same thing, though, isn't it? Okay, so here's the point. Just as the flat earthers tell the globe earthers they can't have horizontal, only at a point, as the man earlier expressed that horizontal was only at the center. Dave Weiss did that as well. Center, horizontal point. That's what the flat earthers have to have with their east. It's at the same point. Because they can't have north, south, east and west being perpendicular. In the same way that the globe guys can't have vertical and horizontal being perpendicular. It's just expressed exactly the same by these groups of people in some sort of like a frustration thing where they seem to take it out on the people that they're talking to. But the one thing that doesn't happen is the globe guys don't relate their geometric problems to the flat earth guys' geometric problems of east and west circles. The same way that the globe guys have a horizontal circle of a load of horizontal points. There's no difference. Their circles are the same. Their geometric problems are exactly the same. And that's why nobody in this arena can actually talk about these things. Because it doesn't matter which side of the argument you're on, because it's a false dichotomy, obviously, you have to accept this particular geometric contradiction. I don't know. I don't know whether it's classed as a contradiction or just some sort of a initiation thing. To enter the club of the model afflicted, you must be able to imagine that perpendicular is perpendicular, but not to straight lines. And whether both of the lines curve or just one of the other lines curve, you've got to imagine that there's somehow some difference. And also what you have to do is you have to incorporate it into your model. You have to accept it. You have to be able to defend this geometric contradiction. And this is how they defend it now, because it's been exposed, right? They've got the same problem. And surely if you have that problem yourself, then it becomes a little bit difficult when you start exposing it of your interlocutors, right? You can't really go round accusing your opponent of doing something that you also do yourself. It takes a special kind of acted scenario for you to be able to do that, or maybe some sort of a mental condition where, you know, you're just not aware of the internal contradictions that you've already got yourself. But here we go.
Right. There's no in on the globe model either. There's not even a north. You're not even following a north.
Right, so let's go back a couple of things and listen to his reply here, right? If you want to hear what ECV is, I've just exposed the contradiction from both of their models, Flat Earth and the Globe Earth. And listen to what that there is no horizontal on the globe model. Well, you can't have east and west being a straight line in the Flat Earth model either.
There's no in. There's not even an in on the globe model.
It's the same thing, you know, isn't it?
Right. There's no in on the globe model either. There's not even a north. You're not even following a north. You're really following a south. But it puts you in a circle area, circle orientation of where you're going. So on the globe idea, you're on a flat.
So this is Democ now. It's just going into, I don't know, ECV override. Just spouting nonsense, talking about, who knows? Just doesn't make any sense. So, but this is, you know, this is Flat Earth now.
At surface, hold on, brothers, please. On a globe idea, it's like they put a dartboard here on the flat surface. That's your globe. It's a flat dartboard over the flat plane. It's a flat circle, and they take their lids, their rounds accordingly. And from the center out, the lines widen. That being not the same as a flat Earth chess or checkerboard. We are checkerboarded out on flat Earth. The globe converges, diverges, and does weird shit. We don't do that on a flat Earth. The glober's lines have to.
No, the Flat Earth is the dartboard. But this is Democ talking for the Flat Earthers. It's no wonder that they're all confused, because they've got people like Democ just talking rubbish. The other guys literally just said they're circles. And Democ's now saying the dartboard is the globe. And they've got a checkerboard. Well, they haven't. They've just said they've got circles. So, I mean, it is confusing. But this is what I went in there to tell them, right? They can't talk about this perpendicular problem. All of the model afflicted have this problem. In different ways, but they have this problem.
Converge like a beach ball. The lines of a beach ball go out away from each other and then back to each other. They have to diverge and converge. Flat Earth is not a divergent, convergent line thing, longitude, latitude. On a globe, it is. I mean, that's really the only best way to put it. Flat Earth can be squared out like a hashtag everywhere you want to do it. Flat Earth hashtag everywhere on the ground. Perfect. Globe hashtag couldn't work. It's not possible. It's just not possible.
Yeah, well, the north-south of the Flat Earth model is similar to the vertical of the Globe Earth model, right?
No, my Flat Earth model is not similar to any globe model at all.
No, ever. I mean in the respect of perpendiculars. how their individual perpendiculars work.
But they're horizontal ones, yeah.
From
But
the end.
Okay, so trying to make it a bit more clearer, clarify. The vertical, in reality and on the globe, is a straight line, straight. Since perpendicular is the relationship of two straight lines to one another. And the flat Earth north-south line is also straight. So they're the same in the fact that they are straight. And remember, we are talking about perpendicular. So if we can agree that vertical and north and south are the same in the way that they are both straight, then we've got half of our perpendicular sorted. That's all I'm trying to say. And Democ says they're not the same. But I don't know what he's talking about, because this is what Democ does. This is what you have to deal with. If you want to go and talk to flat earthers, you may have to deal with people like Democ. And it's more of a challenge than you would imagine. Just trying to talk about straight to some of these flat earthers, right? Not all.
Can I just say, I think the reason why he's struggling here is because his model, whatever because he said he doesn't have a model, but whatever his imagining is of flat Earth, and his flat Earth model can have nothing similar to the globe.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't matter what you have said. He's coming at it from an emotional response, not from a logical thinking response, because anyone logically thinking would have to agree that the straight line that is north-south in a flat Earth map, it would be the same thing as a vertical of the center of a ball to the edge of a ball in the globe model. They're both straight lines.
Yeah. Well, I don't know whether, how long you've been around and how many people you've talked to, but Democ is definitely a character in this arena. And, people always talk of other people in different ways. And I'm sure he said many different things about me. But I'm quite happily to say that Democ is mad. He's mad.
I heard him over in the
upset. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I heard him. Sorry, I heard him in the 24/7. He was over in 24/7 room in the Islamic server. He was quite dominant there, and he was horrific.
Yeah,
I mean, he was racist and misogynistic, and things he said to these Muslim guys, was just shocking, really shocking.
Is he not Muslim?
No.
Is he not Islamic? No.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Well, no, I don't know either. But from what he was saying, no, I wouldn't.
Okay.
No way. He wouldn't. No, I've never heard Muslims talk to like that to each other. Certainly not. They, even if they don't agree with each other about one thing or another, if they talk about Allah, it's they're on the same page pretty much. Unless there's Sunnis and Shiites, maybe then they have some other issues. But yeah, I was really shocked at the way he spoke to people, really. And I'm not surprised that there's no action over there. Hasn't been for a week or week and a half. There's been nothing going on there at all. And I could see the clash of cultures going on there. And yeah, I mean, he was talking, I don't know, I got the kind of feeling he was like some ex-US Army vet who'd been to Afghanistan and Iraq.
Who, Democ?
Yeah, I'm not saying he has. I'm just saying that was the impression I got. But the way he was talking, he was that stereotypical, raghead kind of guy.
He's an angry. He's an angry flat earther, flat Earth Society guy. You'd have to say.
Yeah.
But I mean, you'll get more get more expose on Democ at the minute. But basically, I'm trying to have a conversation. Definitely not with Democ, right? I know what Democ's like. I'm just trying to have a conversation with the other guys. But as you can hear, Demok is running distraction. Now, whether this is Flat Earth Society or this is just something that you have to deal with whenever you're in any of these rooms. Providing, you know, like if you... This is only saying this as if you do want to come in and try and engage in conversation with any of this stuff. Because, I mean, it's fascinating. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to work out between these guys that are afflicted by a model. Now, you might end up drawing yourselves into this because a lot of people do. And since it's so deep rooted, there's a lot of emotional responses that go on with this. I believe it's because there's a model that you're given, and it's within the inner child. It was given to you before you could recognize logic, so you couldn't reason this model that you've been given, and you've incorporated it into your schema, and because of that it becomes a really deep-rooted emotion that I don't think people understand where it comes from or anything. It's just a really strange thing, and it gets exposed by these sort of questions about how you formulate thoughts about what you're thinking. And since we've got so base as to talk about a straight line, then the emotions seem to get drawn up even more. So what you have to remember is that in this, we are just talking about a straight line and how different models perceive this straight line.
Like
Right? And the
Dartboard,
north
brother.
I'll have
south,
to admit,
right?
Dartboard. It's like the dartboard, brother.
I haven't actually, like, I can admit that personally I haven't done a lot of exploration with a compass in my hand. Like, I've done it used it over short distances, but I haven't gone extreme distances to see what the compass does in different areas. Like if you headed in a perfectly straight line, right, and watched as like if you started southwest, right, and as you started walking, you know, what the compass does, where south ends up, you know, being parallel or like is your line now, like turns in, and then you keep walking and it starts going to the right of that line. Fuck if I know.
It's
I haven't done that.
It's arctical and arctendicular. It's not parallel. It's not perpendicular. It's arctilel.
Well, here's the further problem is that the vertical on the globe model, right, that's a straight line, and the north-south on the flat earth model, that's a straight line. But the claim is there isn't any
oriented
straight lines.
Differently.
Yes, longitude to be straight lines going around like rings, right? So they think they're parallel from each other. So they have a ring on the top of the ball, another ring. They're not the same size. They're different size rings. So that doesn't make them by law, you know, the way they think it is. So you have a little ring, big ring, big ring.
He says there that longitude would be rings, but on the flat earth, they're straight lines, aren't they?
Yeah, he must have made a mistake, I guess.
Yeah, it's like he's got a different model
octals
in his head. Like he's just coming up with some weird stuff. We are talking about the flat earthers. Like I say, I'm not too sure Demok represents the flat earth too well, but these guys are letting him talk. So this is the 24/7 flat earth room that are letting Demok talk for the flat earthers. It's their room, and you know they do well for muting people and, you know, banning people, blocking people.
Big ring, center ring, be their equator, and then you keep going, it would match the rings, right? And then you take a line from the north and go down, 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 down. So they have straight lines, but it's not the way they're thinking, and they don't work out in reality the way our square grid does compared to their striped ball.
Single directions.
Yes, the striped ball, the stripe on the ball, right? It's perpendicular around that ball like a paint stripe, like the two lines go next to each other, but not the way they're thinking, because it's an arcing
Like
line.
it's perpendicular around the east-west circle
Yes.
of the flat Earth.
Yes. Yes. Round the center like a
So
belt.
it's
Yes,
the
sir. Like
same.
Santa Claus's belt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It'd
So we get what you're saying,
be a
brother.
tangent.
Yeah.
So they get what I'm saying. That they are perpendicular, but not really perpendicular, but they want to call them perpendicular. Interesting. That they, you know.
Be a tangent.
What, the
Right.
east-west on the flat Earth
But-
model?
Yeah, they can't get a
Be a
ball and tell you
tangent.
that shit. Right.
The straight line east-west that, you know, everybody thinks of, the one at the center of the compass, because you've got north, south, east, and west dividing that circle into quadrants. Now, they are perpendicular, actually.
Right.
Aren't they?
Well,
On the compass. On the compass, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So
supposed to
this
move,
is where the
right?
straight line problem comes, right? This is why people like Terence Howard and Whitsitt and, you know, all of the globe guys have a problem with straight and perpendicular.
Hold on, brother. But you're thinking on a big scale, though.
No,
It
no,
gets
I'm just
worse
thinking
than that.
about actual geometric perpendicular. And the
Right, right,
perceptions
but-
of people have of them being straight lines. But, you
But
know, the models,
but I'm trying to
guys,
tell you,
don't
brother,
have them as
Terrence
straight
Howard-
lines, but want to perceive them as being straight lines.
All right, but you have to listen to me. You're not listening. You really don't listen really good. You have to listen. I've been listening to you, and I agree with what you're saying most of the time. So what I'm trying to tell you, brothers, if I take a big fucking roller that's 5 foot wide and put up the most perfect...
Right, so here we go. Demok is, he was listening to me and he agreed with me. But now you're going to get to know Demok on a roll.
perfect line on the wall of this roller. Terrence Howard and them's contention is not lines in general, brother, like that. It's even on a smaller scale also. So when you and I get to a big scale of the globe, it's already fucked. It's already a problem from this point, because these dudes think even when you zoom in on the line, it can't be a perfect horizontal line. They're
Can't be
thinking it's a
straight.
wavy. They're thinking
Terence
it's
Howard said
triangles.
straight, not horizontal, just straight. Because he said when they invented straight 6,000 years ago, they thought the Earth was flat. So they invented straight in accordance for their thought. Flat
Well,
Earth,
straight,
apparently. Well, that's what
hold
he
on,
was
brother.
saying.
But
everybody knows
listen to me, you're
straight's just
brother,
straight, right?
but you're doing the same thing as them. You're trying to make some fucking sense out of dog shit. Stop. You're
trying to
making
make any
I
sense out of
swear
it.
to God,
I
really
know what
wish they
straight
had never
is.
made a
I'm
pull-down
okay.
flat 2D
I
map
don't
in a
have a
kindergarten
problem with it.
classroom so that you morons wouldn't be so
So
fucking
anyway,
retarded.
if I can get my fucking sentence out, ever, Bev. Thank you, brother. So,
That wasn't
Terrence
me,
Howard
somebody
and
else, wasn't
Whitson, can you shut up for 3 seconds, Bev? Motherfuck, dude. So, if I got a horizontal line on the wall, the
Sorry for
horizontal
swearing.
line, they're saying it's not perfect. They're saying it's got pyramids and cones and rods in it. Now, when you get microscopically little and they're saying it's pyramids and cones and rods, then when you get bigger, they're saying it's the same fucking thing like ocean waves, cones and rods of water. And it's oceans and particulates and circles and spheres and atoms and molecules all making your straight line. Therefore, no straight. Straight's made up by man. Really, the idea is sphere is made up by man. So is a square. So is the idea of triangle.
So like I say, you may come across characters like Demok that make no sense about what they're talking about, and you may get off put talking to people. But just know that not everybody's like Demok, but you might have to listen to him drone on for hours. And if you try and interrupt him, he's just going to insult you, call you names, and I think it's going to be allowed by these guys. You know, they are flat earthers and they can't talk forever, so they need people to talk for them. And that's what people like Demok do. Unfortunate, but that's what comes with the arena. People like Demok, crazy people.
Angle or a pyramid, the shapes are made up by man. But a perfect line can exist. A perfect line is itself, whether it's a big line that we're talking about, perpendicular or horizontal or vertical, or it's a small line that you zoom in on. These lines are the same thing. And
You
they
know, it's
claim
like
you
a
perfect.
pretty childish fucking like the most like idiotic kindergartner kid could figure out that what a fucking 3D ring is, right? Why are you like overcomplicating this and saying there's oh god, there's goddamn cones in it and fucking stupid shit? Like this is a fucking like
Who said
remedial level
who
dumb
said
fucking
there's
thing to
cones?
understand.
Hold
I have
on,
a
brother.
real
Who
hard
said there's,
time overcomplicating it.
who are you talking to? Who said there's cones and
Fucking
I'm
rods?
you,
talking to you.
fuck.
He wants a fight, Demok. He wants a
Who
fight,
the
man.
fuck
Yeah,
said there's
bro.
cones
Ready?
and
Shit on
rods?
Ding,
him,
ding,
Demar.
ding.
I don't know whether
Shit
this
on
The
him.
is
red
just to
corner.
get the
Who
Yeah,
said
awakening
there's
God, have you
cones and
never
rods?
like
conversations.
fucking Jesus Christ, dude?
You're saying I said there's
Ridiculous.
cones and rods?
What
You're
were you
saying
saying
Demach
just
made that
moments
up when he
ago?
was
It's like
born?
there's no such thing as a fucking flat line. It's not flat because oh it curves up and down and left and right. What the fuck are you talking about, dude?
I said what Terrence McKenna and Whitsitt and you say. You guys all say there's cones and rods in your fucking eye, goop troops. I say there ain't,
A fucking
motherfucker.
eyeball.
I say I don't agree with that, idiot fuck. I say you can have a horizontal. Do you understand? You can
Well,
have
there
a
you go.
perfect
Then you.
line. Do
Yeah.
you understand? You can have a perfect horizontal line.
I agree.
Obviously.
You can have a perfect circle.
Fuck
Isn't
you, right?
that
You think you
crazy?
can?
No, your fucking brain can't. That's the problem. I can't.
Is there a difference between a perfect circle and a circle? Is there any difference really? I think perfect in front of circle is what we call a pleonasm. It's like an extra word that isn't needed for dramatic effect. And if anybody ever adds words in for dramatic effect in geometry, you can normally think that they don't really know what they're talking about. And they might be akin to doing that with words that aren't geometrical. Something to note. And also, Demok's mad. You should never really take anything that he says. Even if you are in a flat earth room, right?
And your brain can't. Reality can. You can't. Because it hurts your model. Because you got a bias. I don't have a bias of what can be perfect somewhere. The shape of a thing is a perfect fucking line of itself. The outline of itself. That is the most perfect outline you can have of anything that's made. Until it gets blemished. By your imagination or your perception. Just like you think something's disappearing through fucking water walls.
Hey, I love how Bev comes in, doesn't claim to be a glober, doesn't claim to be a flat earther, and just creates chaos. And
I'm
He's
just
a Poe.
talking
starts a
about
fight with everybody.
perpendicular. Come on.
He
Right, I create chaos by talking about straight. That's what happens whenever you go into a room of flat earthers and talk about straight. Chaos.
By the way, creating chaos is oxymoron because chaos is perfect disorder. So you cannot create this because creation is forming something into shape. And chaos is perfect deconstruction. So you cannot create chaos. It's just
Oxymoron
nonsense.
then, right? Typical.
Exactly.
Typical. Well, that fits the form then, right? A flat earther talks oxymorons.
he's a Poe, right? He can pretend to be a flat earther. He can pretend to be a globe earther.
It's a false dichotomy. I'm pretty sure I've been over this. They're all model afflicted, and that was the point of the conversation, right? To show how both of these guys are model afflicted and how that causes them to have geometric problems. I don't have those geometric problems, and I'm not going to take on either of these models, so I can have those geometric problems. It's ridiculous.
He's a Poe.
He takes that, Bev. You're not taking any responsibility. Like, you are literally just trying to get a semantical argument on straight lines,
No,
which
I'm
doesn't help either side of the argument.
well, yeah. So I'm pointing out,
Makes
right,
no point.
that the two choices that you give is a false dichotomy, because you both have a similar idea of the geometry of perpendicular, just over different things.
There is no geometry, brother. All that's made up by
Yeah.
man. That's
So
made by
Bev,
man.
what's the surface of the Earth, right? Is the surface of the Earth flat or is it curved?
It's definitely not flat. We can measure elevation changes.
Right. So what about the surface of water?
The surface of
flat?
water is obviously that's not flat either, because it's got ripples and stuff. The surface of a water level, the tool, that establishes a horizontal plane of reference.
While at rest.
So water level. So water is level.
The
Yeah.
water level's a tool, yeah.
Yeah, but that's
The
level,
water in
right?
it. The water in
Is
it
a
is level.
water level straight? Can we determine that the level you're measuring with is straight? A straight line.
When you measure in sea level, that's on a vertical datum, right? That
Holy
goes up and
fuck,
down,
nobody
and we
said
measure
sea
that
level.
on the vertical. The tool, the water level,
Couldn't
that
use the
establishes a
surface of water
horizontal.
to establish a horizontal plane of reference if the surface of the water wasn't horizontal.
Exactly.
The top
No matter what pool
points,
you
right?
put it in.
The pressure
Put it in a
state that you're
cup.
talking about.
No, put it in a cup we're talking about.
Yeah, put
So
it
it
in a
sounds
water
like we can
level, the tool.
establish. Yeah, but it sounds like we can establish horizontal as level, and it
can.
sounds like we can, and we can establish that as flat and straight.
Well, have you ever seen a water level? It's like a big tube. You wouldn't call it flat and straight.
Yeah, but you can find that as straight. You will
could
find
say
that as a
that
straight
those
edge.
two
You can get a ruler,
communicating
you can get a very
vessels.
large level and get a very large ruler, and you can establish that that level is flat and straight.
That's straight, yes.
You can also
That's
get a bigger
horizontal,
tube.
you could say.
You can also get a bigger tube and use your brain and make your own water level and make another one too.
But you could then
and get
also
big tubes.
Measure
Right.
elevation changes by using that and say it. The land, that's not flat.
Yeah, as your reference. Yeah, as your zero. Exactly. So, yeah. So it'd be silly to say that at the either end of the water level that the surface of the liquid was curving, right?
Well, it's got a meniscus, right? I don't know if you ever seen
No,
something in a small tube.
no, it doesn't. No,
There's
not unless it's
definitely a
floating on top
meniscus.
of something. No, not unless it's floating at the very top, like the suds on your beer, brother.
Have you ever seen a water level, Demok?
Apparently, you haven't.
Right. Okay. So Demok's in there speaking for them. Running a little bit of over the shoulder peanut gallery, let's say. But he's getting a more active part. Just ask him. Does he know what a water level is? Since he's got involved in the conversation. Well, yeah, we have to perform tests with them.
No, I don't think you have. Apparently, you don't know anything about it because you're asking us questions. You should be proving everything. You should come in here with some proof.
If you'd ever actually used or seen a water level.
Claim. I want to know what your claim and your proof is, Goop Troop.
So where you drawing your line from? Like, is it from the top of the meniscus, or is it where is it? Yeah, okay, yeah, you start because you could. Yeah, you could actually. You could draw a line.
You don't ever draw the line.
Yeah, but you're going to establish a horizontal plane of reference.
Yeah.
From which point on the surface of the water?
From wherever you put the water levels, right? The ends of the water level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. You're going to use the top of the water, right, as your reference, aren't you?
Use the water level, yes.
So you'd use it empty? No water in it? Will that work?
No, the water level requires water, right?
Yeah, so where's your horizontal plane start?
Well, it's in between the 2 points. The 2 points when referenced to each other.
From which, in respect to
even
what?
Altitude.
In respect to what? The top of the water in the tube?
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Right, I don't know by anybody else, but you know, I don't know if most people have used water levels or anything. Really, it's just a tube full of water, and you reference the ends of where the water level rises to, and those 2 points of the water, because it's one body of water, have an equal elevation. So you're referencing the top of the water at one end of the tube to the top of the water at the other end of the tube. And that's what you're doing. You're just referencing those 2 points to one another. It's pretty simple. It's basic. It's 2 points. And you can move them to wherever you want, right? You can put one end at one position and the other end at another position. And those 2 bits of water will always be at an equal elevation. Pretty simple. Dead easy. These flat earthers struggle with that as a basic concept, but it's very it's linked pretty precisely to this geometric aspect of 2 points, except we can relate those 2 points with the use of a water level to an equal altitude. They're both of the same elevation, if you want to call it elevation, call it altitude, but they're at an equal. That's the whole point of the water level. And these guys are trying to figure that out, but I mean, I think they want that horizontal plane reference between those 2 points. They want that to be flat Earth. And I'm saying it's not, because you use that to measure that the Earth's not flat in reality. So,
itself.
So is that
all of the communicating vessels, right? Have you ever heard of the law of
so the
communicating
meniscus
vessels?
part, the bit that's concave and sliding, sort of looks like it's going up the side.
Have you ever checked
from the top
out
of that part?
Law of communicating vessels? It doesn't need to be discussed or anything. You should know about this.
So which part? Which part of the water? Which part of the water? The bit that's higher than the other because of the meniscus?
Oh, well, you take the same, don't you, from each of them? You take it even.
So we're going to reference the meniscus, the height of the meniscus?
Either the top of the meniscus on both of them or the bottom of the meniscus on both of them. But as long as you take them both the same, then you'll get a horizontal plane of reference, right?
So let me get this straight. If I pour water on top of the side of my level, I just use that meniscus instead of my level, right?
Yeah, you don't know what a water level is, unfortunately.
Brother, hold on. You're going by a meniscus of water. I'm going to try to do the same, Bev. I'm going to try thinking like you, and I'm going to do the same thing as you. I'm going to use your fucking meniscus. What's that? Not allowed now? I'm going to take water, pour it on the edge of my level.
You're a joke demo.
Right? No, you're rejecting your own soul.
I don't know why these guys allow you to be in here.
I don't know why they allow you to meniscus us, but not do your own claim. I don't know why they allow you to not ever prove anything or make a claim and keep trying to rile everybody up. And you
proved that a straight line lies
you
within a
haven't
plane.
done anything but talk to yourself a lot, brother. You just talk a lot about nothing.
Prove that the Earth's not flat.
No, you haven't done shit.
Elevation changes.
No, you haven't. No, a single word does that. Horizontal.
You can prove the dogmatic globe too.
No, you haven't done anything. You sound like Mark Twain.
Hey, Beth is a pay agent, so don't worry. Let him do his thing.
Well, just for clarity for those who are listening in the background, so nothing has been established apart from that the word flat Bev doesn't like, but apart from that, the world is still topographical.
I don't know what he's talking about. Like, why do I not like words? We've not even used it. I don't know where that came from. Must be a deep-rooted sort of thing that he's got, because we've not even been talking about flat. We've just been talking about straight.
Or plane. Just like every other flat earther says. It's just the choice of word.
Well, let's go back again. Listen to that.
But apart from that, the world is still topographical plane. Just like every other flat earther says. It's just the choice of word.
A topographical plane is an oxymoron.
You won't oxymoron.
There you go. Topographical plane is an oxymoron. Don't know how many times we have to say this. Doesn't matter how many times flat earthers say it. It's still an oxymoron. If they all say it, then they've all been convinced to actually speak out loud an oxymoron. Flat earthers, that, you know, they've got multiple contradictions, and when you incorporate an oxymoron, like I think I point out here, you've got flat earth, right, and then topographical plane. They just swap it round, right? Flat earth, that's an oxymoron, isn't it? Because the earth's not flat. Everybody can measure that. So what do? Topographic plane. Well, the plane is like the flat, and the topography is like the earth. Again, oxymoron, just the opposite way round. I think nobody will notice. Well, flat earth isn't working. Let's say topographic plane. I do feel sorry for them though, right? Because they are committed to it. But they do have to say some stupid shit. Flat earthers, you have to take this on. You have to acknowledge it. These are oxymorons. The earth's not flat, and a plane can't be topographic. It's like they're two opposites. A plane is 2D, and topography is 3D. 3D, 2D. Nonsense.
On your meniscus and what measure stuff from it either, will you? Find your perpendicular from meniscus?
Funny, everybody knows what I mean when I say topographical plane.
So he says there, everybody knows what he means. Well, I hope they know that he's talking about an oxymoron. But I mean, if you know something different, like what do they mean? Does anyone know?
This is a thing that cannot exist. So
yeah,
he's talking about not that.
So when he says that everybody knows what he means, what does he mean by that? What does everybody else know what he means?
Yeah, I understand what he means. He means thing that cannot exist. So,
yeah, nonsense. Like, so everybody knows you're talking nonsense whenever you say this shit that can't exist. Brilliant. I mean, it's not much of an argument. In fact, you've not got much of a case, really, if that's the best you've got. Everybody knows what he means.
Huh? Well, I want to find a meniscular, perpendicular, parallel lines from the meniscuses. Could you show us how to do this meniscus measurement, Waterman, Bev?
It's just a reverse of flat Earth, isn't it? Topographical plane.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. You said you measured
the plane is the flat, and the topography is obviously the Earth.
You should clean your ears out. You should clean your ears out. Stay on top. I asked for the meniscus measurement, parallel, vertical, horizontal meniscuses. Do you have any of those?
You're a joke, Demok.
No, your meniscus.
I don't know why these guys allow you around. I suppose they need somebody to talk.
So you don't back your meniscus. Now you won't talk for your meniscus.
You sound like the face of flat Earth, Demok. This is probably one of the reasons people don't want to become flat Earthers, because of people like you.
Yeah, you sound like a wannabe meniscus measurer, but you won't do it. You sound like you like meniscuses, but you won't prove any claim. You just want to come and talk about meniscuses all day, right?
Yeah, it's not as if you're obfuscating the fuck out of this right now, is it?
Well, I'm wondering what your meniscus measures like, because I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You say the weirdest shit.
Does anybody know what the fuck Demok's talking about?
You say water's not horizontal, and then you say it's got bubble meniscuses everywhere, like bubble wrap. Something wrong with you, brother. I don't know how you would even start to measure the horizontal of a meniscus and the vertical.
I just want to know, zero measurement, zero elevation change. Is that a measurement?
An equal altitude.
I'm actually enjoying the show.
You just reference one point to another, don't you?
Altitude. Is that zero elevation?
What do you mean? Is that zero? A nothing?
What's zero?
A zero
Is
is
that
a
no
nothing,
elevation?
yes.
No, what's your reference?
No elevation change.
Yeah, equal altitude for a water level.
Yeah,
As in-
because to get to 1, you're going to start from where?
The first one.
To get to -1, you're going to start from where?
You're just referencing one point to another. And when in the
Oh,
case
right.
of a
So I'm
water
going to
level
start.
tool, you can reference all points.
Okay, I'll use my
Yeah,
house.
yeah.
The
My
law
roof.
of communicating vessels, like I say.
Okay, I put one tube
Oh,
on my roof
shit.
and one in my backyard. Now, what am I doing with them, Bev?
I don't know. What you do in your backyard's your business, mate.
Yeah, okay, non-level user. I've got one of the tubes full of liquid on my roof, and one's down below in my yard. Now, where's my 0? Cartoon guy.
Not got a clue.
So you just said from anywhere. Now I picked 2
From the
positions on Earth.
water
young man.
level, right? The water
From where?
level.
My roof in my backyard. How's it doing it?
It's
Stop repeating
establishing a
dumb shit.
horizontal plane of reference. That's what the tool does.
No, it's not from my roof in my backyard.
If you've got
No,
a
that'd be
water
a
So you're going to
level
measure
in
something.
that position, then
You're going to measure
yes.
something to be flat. Measuring something flat.
You
Holy
can't
shit.
measure flat, can you? I mean, that's ridiculous.
Can't measure flat, then how do you get 0?
That you're
How
saying
do,
we
how
can't
do you
measure
get
flat.
nothing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No.
How do you get nothing? Anyone answer that one? Flat earthers want to know. How do you get nothing?
Elevation change. Yeah.
Yeah, you establish
Elevation
with a water
angle.
level, you establish a horizontal plane of reference.
You're going to measure a straight, flat line.
No, you're just establishing it. That becomes
Yeah.
your reference.
That's measuring it.
No, it's
That's
not.
measuring.
It's
It
just
has to measure
establishing
to
your
have no
reference.
elevation change for you to know that it has no elevation change.
You just establish the reference.
Yes,
Within
by
a tool
measuring
called
it.
a level. No, it's not measuring it. You measure
Hold on.
from it.
Yeah.
I
Yes,
see.
it is a measurement.
I see what he's saying. He's saying we didn't break out the tape measure and go from the front to the back of it.
Well, you just establish a horizontal plane of reference. Now, is that
You are
your
going
flat
to
Earth?
use to reference elevation
Yeah.
change.
Is that what you say is flat Earth? That horizontal plane? Because the Earth obviously isn't a horizontal plane. So are you saying that the flat Earth is the horizontal plane?
No, we're asking you about the first guy who made the very first water level. How did he establish?
Talking about
wouldn't know.
you
They obviously
measuring
did that
a
a long
straight,
time ago,
flat,
didn't they?
horizontal line or plane.
You establish it
That's
by
what I'm talking
using
about.
a tool. Now, the
No,
best
no
tool
measuring.
over a long
Measuring.
distance
Then
is
how
a
do you
water
know
level.
that it doesn't have any elevation change?
What logic? Reasoning.
Logic.
Yes.
Globe reasoning, globe logic.
What? No, not globgic.
Logic.
Logic.
We don't like the word logic. We like proof.
You don't. There you go. Democ and the flat earthers don't like the word logic. That's flat earthers representative. Democ telling you that they don't like people using logic to work out that a water level establishes a equal elevation with no flow or anything like that. They don't like you using reasoning for you to be able to work this process out. He doesn't want that. I don't know what he does want. It seems like he just wants to
He's confusing
obfuscate.
measurement with establishing. And by the way, it is impossible because if he's saying that establishing horizontal plane of reference is measuring it, therefore you are going into infinite regression, because if you are measuring something, you need to measure this of something else. So in order to measure a horizontal plane of reference, you need something to establish, and then you need to have new reference frame to measure this horizontal, and so on and so on. So you are creating infinite regression, and this is impossible. So you have to start from establishing something that is already established and does not need any measurement, because otherwise you need to go into infinite regression, and he doesn't understand that. This guy, Todd Wazel, I think. He was repeating that you are, by establishing, you are measuring. You cannot do that.
Yeah.
It's nonsense.
Yeah, but that is one of the narratives, since one of the prominent flat earthers has said that you can measure the earth flat. But they want this horizontal to be that measurement. So apparently
impossible.
now this horizontal is the flat earth. But, I mean, you can say that the earth isn't that as well. So, I don't know. They're putting themselves in this tricky position where they're obfuscating the obvious thing about straight. To say if you can tell it's straight, you can tell it's not straight. But they want to obfuscate it so you can't tell what even the question is. People like these flat earthers. Remember, we are talking about straight and the idea of longitude, latitude, vertical, horizontal, north, south, east and west all being perpendicular and what that actually means. This is where don't like logic. I can imagine that's coming from you, Demok. Does everyone agree with Demok in here, these flat earthers, that you don't like logic?
Your logic. You might be high on something. Your fucking logic might be ready to jump off buildings like Superman.
He's a good representative of the flat earth.
Yeah, you're a real good logical thinker for yourself, maybe. Not for me, brother.
I tell you what, Bev, I would trust Demok on my, to have my back 10 times more than I'd ever trust you on my shoulder, mate.
There you go. The flat earthers would rather dismiss logic and have Demok on their side over there than talk about reason and working stuff out for yourself. 24/7 flat earth. This is what they're like. They said it.
Oh,
you're like a whimsy maxing like wannabe. You're out here like, look at me. I can give you a semantical argument that will break your brain. So what?
Do you want to hear that again? I think this is a diss. I don't know who is this guy. Is it Roots? Listen to this. What we can do.
wow.
You're like a whimsy maxing like wannabe. You're out here like, look at me. I can give you a semantical argument that will break your brain. So
I can give you an argument that'll break your brain.
He says semantic, but it is not semantic.
Well, it's about straight, right? The understanding of straight and the definitions and perpendicular and how you it is semantical, right? Because it's about the understanding of what perpendicular is. He's sort of right.
Yes, because semantics is logic, so you cannot be not semantic.
It's the understanding of what the words mean. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about straight. But apparently, these arguments, I wouldn't call them arguments really. I'd say the conversation starters or whatever. He thinks they'll break your brain. They might do. You might not want to come and listen to these conversations that we have about straight lines and perpendiculars, geometry, logic. They might break your brain. If you are a flat earther, then you might want to watch out. Click off. Nobody wants to be breaking anybody's brains. That's the last thing we want to do, particularly with arguments and conversations. So if you are prone to your brain being broken, watch out, put a warning out. Don't invite your friends if they are prone to having their brains broken by arguments of any sort, really.
Oh, what? Nobody cares, Bev.
Nobody cares.
Hey,
You are going to use your plane that you
Break your brain.
established,
Are you
right,
sure?
as
Is that why?
as a
Is that why
zero
everybody gets all
elevation
upset?
reference point, right? And you're going to measure from that. It's part.
I think that might be why we get banned from everywhere, right? Because, you know, people might be sort of complaining to the moderators that their brains are getting broken by, you know, looking at the words that we put out there, questions asking about straight lines. That might be why the Flat Earth Debate server banned me over the weekend. I was over there talking about straight. And they may use the excuse of trolling or whatever, but it was just talking about straight, and perhaps I broke a few brains or two. Maybe it's leaked out.
Part of your measurement. Without it, you couldn't make a measurement from there to something else. It's part of the measurement.
It's the reference.
No, it's part of the measurement. It's
He's
zero.
wrong again.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Can't
trying
go
to argue
from
against himself.
What are you going to go? You're going to call it?
Yeah, this
Because-
is Flat Earth
But
argumentation.
previously he said that a measuring from is measuring something, and now he's saying the same thing. So he's delusional because you cannot have both. Or you are measuring off horizontal or from horizontal, or you are measuring horizontal. You cannot have both at the same time. And now he's saying that measuring from horizontal is measuring horizontal. It is impossible. This is bad grammar, I would say. It is grammatically because wrong, because he's saying about semantics. So, okay, so let's talk about grammar. Measuring horizontal is not the same thing as measuring from horizontal. That's why we add word from, because it is different. And this guy doesn't get it.
He is a flat earther, though, right? And he probably, you don't know how long he's had to listen to Democ. That'd surely do something to you, you know, having to listen and to Democ talking to people. Imagine everybody came in there and had a question about straight, how, you know, what they'd be like. I don't know what they, you know, how they're going to develop their conversational skills.
At 5? And count from 5 up? Included in the measurement.
The measurement of zero change in elevation.
A measurement of zero.
Yes. When I see how tall you are, if you didn't exist and you were behind me, and I pulled out my tape measure, I'd say, Bev measures zero in front of me.
You don't
He's not
even
here.
need a tape measure to measure zero.
I
mean,
know.
everyone can
Isn't
measure
that logical?
measure nothing wherever they
So
are,
now
right?
you're
It's
acting logical
instant
all of a
sort of
sudden?
thing.
So now logic's kicking in, right? You just know zero from what you establish.
You're
Once
saying you can
establish-
measure zero. I'm saying
once
that's
you
absolutely
establish-
ridiculous. And it's
No, you have to
obvious that
establish
you
zero.
don't employ any logic.
You have to establish it, then it
Yeah,
is
you're
it.
representing
It's
Flat
measured as
Earth.
itself. So once you establish what zero is, then you can take out that tape measure and say, well, we know this is zero, Bev.
You establish
Without
the reference.
establishing it.
And you can measure from the reference, right?
The zero is your reference, yes.
That's what we
Zero
do
you
in
measure.
reality, right? When
make
we
the zero.
actually do measure elevation changes, we establish a level and measure from that. So therefore we know that the land, the earth, is measured not flat.
No, we don't establish.
Because
We establish from a reference
we measure
point.
it from the reference.
Yeah, from a reference, not from just any
Yeah,
point.
it's called topography. Let's stop talking about it because it's boring. It's called topography. Everybody
That's
knows
part
about
of the
it.
measurement, dude.
That's the bit that's
part
not
of
flat.
the measurement. You can't present your measurement, a description of it, a representation of it, without that part of it. It is the measurement.
No, the measurement's the measurement.
In the measurement.
In
That's the
respect
reference.
to.
From.
In respect to 0. In respect to that
Root.
level horizontal plane. Yeah. Go ahead, Kembo. Change the subject,
Hey.
please.
No. I gotta.
So he's trying his hardest to get it off the topic. We were talking about straight, but they've wanted to change it to references or something, which is a typical flat earth idea. But now they've made themselves triggered and they don't want to talk about it anymore. And they were the ones that started talking about it.
Yeah, this is like the sales force in the field. You know, they've had the pep talk from the sales manager, Nathan. Said, you know, we're going to go with the best foot forward, lads. 2024 with confidence now. The Earth is flat, and they've been sent out without any explanation, and now they're stumbling because they don't have an explanation for it, and so they have to. You know, all they have is this 0. This reference that they say is the measurement, and it's not an explanation at all, and they're floundering because they've got a faulty product they're trying to sell in the field, and you're a customer is going, it doesn't work. Can't even open the lid. What are you talking about? You know, how do you get in there? How do you turn it on? Well, that's, you know, and they are trying to sell this thing. This is the problem. They haven't been given the instructions how to even operate it, and that's where they're up against, which is what we spoke about, I don't know, early in the year. You know, they've got this faulty product, and it's all very well saying, "Go on, boys, how can sell it? I want to see your good sales figures this month." You know, I don't know. They're probably returning with bad figures, but yeah, if you can't sell it, it's not any good.
You've got a limited market.
Yeah.
All right, and then from then on in, it just depends on how loud those people are, and how I don't know how much. Again, I reckon they might have banned me because I give them a bit of a negative product review, right?
Yeah.
They might think that, you know, just get rid of him, and then there's no negative, right?
Don't listen to him, madam. He's just the competition. He's trying to spoil us, you know. Just move along. Get him out of here, lads. Now, madam, what were we saying here? Get your purse out.
That's what you're about to hear now, right? They've put themselves in this position where they start talking about measurement of 0, and now they've had enough. They don't want to talk about the topography, which is the bit that isn't flat, which they all admit, right? It's not flat. Yet they're flat earthers, and now they don't want to talk about it. And the final bit is where they make out that it was my fault, that, you know, that they had this problem and this reaction. So
you must have broken it. It wasn't broken before you had hold of it. It was
your
working
fault,
fine.
Bev, that
you're gonna have to pay for that. Triggered. You know. Yeah, you damaged that product. Now we can't sell it now. You're gonna have to pay.
Right, so here we go. The last.
I got a better idea. Hey, you remember Uncle Charlie? Root?
Vaguely, yeah.
Yeah, remember in this room too? Uncle Charlie used to come in here and spiral everywhere. He sounded like Uncle Charlie.
I don't know who Uncle Charlie is.
Yeah, this is an archetype, and I don't, Bev. I'm being harsh, mate, but I don't care because I see you do this, and this disrupts our rooms every day. And it's an attention-seeking situation where you're not giving any clarity to anyone. You're not explaining anything to anyone. You are coming in and being disruptive.
I was disruptive, right? So you've heard the conversation, right? That was me being disruptive, apparently. Not Denmark. Me. And here we go.
Yeah, and you think it's whimsical. You think it's clever.
Whimsical. Can somebody tell me, what does whimsical mean? And I'm not joking. I think it's whimsical, but what does whimsical mean?
I have no
Amazing.
idea. I
Makes me
have in my on my screen in dictionary whimsy, and this is like caprice or something that you have in your mind and it is not existent. So some like wanting, you want something that cannot exist. So this is thing that it's whimsy. So this is what I have in dictionary. But whimsical, I don't know, because whimsy is already adjective. So it is like creating adjective from adjective. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand him.
I always see this eccentric Englishman, a bit like Bertie Wooster or something, one of those old English black and white movies, you know, eccentric kind of guy. That's where whenever I hear whimsical, that's what I think of. So I wonder whether they're trying to paint this picture of this kind of rather eccentric person who comes
Talking about
along. And,
straight.
yeah,
And,
they're
you know,
trying. Yeah,
people's
yeah.
problems
In a
are
bit. Yes.
perpendicular.
Yeah. Some kind of weird guy out of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang or something. You know.
Well, it's nice to know what sort of a picture these guys
Yeah.
have got of
But
me.
not the child catcher, of course. Yeah, that's what I think. But you know what it really means, I couldn't be certain.
So this is Roots, whoever Roots is, but he's a flat earther, and he's telling me that I do something.
But it just isn't hitting the mark, Bev. You're not making any points. You're not actually establishing anything apart from a semantical argument at the fact that you don't like using the word flat.
No, I've never used the word flat, so it's not about me not liking the word flat. It's about me having a conversation about how they understand straight. And I did say to them that nobody really can have that conversation. It's too tricky for the mind to even comprehend how to have that conversation about how you perceive straight. This is at the foundations of how you think of things and how you relate things together. And straight is just a relationship between one point and another.
And by the way, flat is you don't use this word flat because in respect to horizontal is just redundant. It is not needed at all. And if we are talking about Earth, it is just not true. So it is completely redundant word in this conversation. So why would you use it?
Descriptive words that can describe whatever it is you're talking about with much more clarity than that word anyway. So I don't know why people use it myself. Sorry, flat earthers, but you've took on an oxymoron, and I'm not willing to accept.
But when we get down to the meat and potato, we both believe the same thing, Bev. We know we're not on a spinning ball. We know there's not curvature. And we know that space is fake. So unless you disagree and you want to discuss one of those three, I don't see the point in any of this existence.
Well, I say
That's what
space
PD would
is
say,
just
bro.
the distance between physical objects. So, I mean...
Well, get her done.
It's not that
Go
it's
do
a
it.
thing, right?
Go
But
get her done.
You can measure
So we
that.
believe the same thing, Bev. We all believe the
measure
same
that.
thing.
You
You
said
are a
that's
flat
fake.
earther. You are a flat.
He said that we believe the same things, and then he said that space is fake. And I say, well, I think that space is the distance between physical objects. And he's saying, well, yeah, that's the same thing. And it's like, it's not.
Space is not fake.
Yeah, I just literally said a different thing than you. And he's like, we think the same, we believe the same things. It's like, well, we quite clearly don't.
And by the way, why he's talking about belief?
Yeah.
If we are measuring space between 2 points, so there is no place for belief. So I don't understand what he's talking about.
You said that space was fake, and I said it was the distance between two physical objects. That's not the same.
Yeah, that's space.
Tell me.
That's space in the rawest sense. We're talking about outer space, Bev. Why do you have to act like an alien all
You've
the
just
time?
added a different word there, so it's like you're changing the meaning. It's sort of like
I think
moving
it's a
the
chat.
goalposts of what you
Can you
said.
stop for a second?
Yeah.
He was talking about outer space. This is laughable because outer means outside of something.
Yeah, outside of space.
Yeah, so outside of space outside of space. This is just idiotic.
Yeah, and he's saying that, well, it's my fault, right? Because I should have known
Yeah,
what he was
obviously.
talking about when I just replied to him about a different one. He's, but this is the way flat earthers are. You can't, I don't know whether it's just flat earthers or whether this goes out to the, the wider population. I don't know, because it seems like the only people we can get to talk to about these sort of things is flat earthers, really. The globe earthers, obviously, they can't talk about it. We're speaking from experience that they have a problem with perpendicular also. In the same way that the flat earthers, and they can't talk about it.
He's like a chat GPT dictionary. He's like, what do you mean? Do you mean by mean and mean by sea level mean and the mean line of the mean? Do you mean I mean this? Are you really mean at that? Would you stop being mean? Get the fuck out of here with that shit, dude. I can pull up a word, make 4 fucking words out of it, and make you look retarded every single day of my life. What's your point with this dumb shit?
Exactly. That's what I want to know. What's the point in all of this, Bev?
The point in all of what?
What do you mean?
The point of me coming round today was to point out that you, the flat earthers, have exactly the same understanding of perpendicular as the globe guys do. You have problems, and because of those problems, you have an inability to talk about it, just like
dare you come in here and
guys.
tell me what I have and don't have. Fuck off.
But you know what? Bev kind of sound like a PD, because PD trying to correct us too when we say, the Earth is flat. Right? He believe in the same. I mean, he believed that the Earth is flat, but you can't say the Earth is flat because he'll try to crucify you.
Not.
Who?
Cool, that's good for you. You keep just telling people whatever the fuck you want to tell them, and you're doing great, right? Right, Bev?
Well, I mean, more and more flat earthers are actually admitting that it's not actually flat. So, I mean, you guys seem to be a little bit behind the curve.
Water is flat at rest. Water is flat and horizontal perfectly at rest.
You can use water to establish a horizontal plane of reference, right?
I can do a lot of stuff with water.
Yeah, but that's not flat. That's not flat Earth, right? That's
because the surface.
It's not the same thing,
lays
right?
horizontally.
In that horizontal to flat Earth. That's what I was saying.
The surface lays horizontally. It's distributed horizontally.
Yes,
which means it has zero slope.
Horizontal planes of reference in reality.
Yeah, zero slope planes of reference. Yes, zero.
Are you saying
zero slope
flat Earth?
Planes of reference?
Are you saying that is flat Earth?
Yes.
Well, why don't you just say that horizontals are in reality? Why don't you use that as your tagline?
I know
horizontal. It's deceptive to say that the Earth's flat.
I do.
Because we can measure the Earth.
No, because people aren't fucking stupid.
There you go. People aren't stupid. That's why we don't just say horizontal. That's why we say flat Earth. It doesn't make any sense, does it?
But by the way, they admitted what's going on in the flat Earth narrative, let's say. Because you are right. Why using word flat Earth when they can use horizontal? And this is their response. It's just nonsense.
Yeah, do it again. It's there. Tagline.
I know
horizontal. It's deceptive to say that the Earth's flat.
I do.
Because we can measure the Earth.
No, because people aren't fucking stupid. And most people, when they come in here, Globers, who are asking questions about it, don't think that we mean it's smooth with absolutely zero elevation changes.
Well, obviously not, because we can prove that it's not that.
So it doesn't need to be mentioned.
The problem is,
it's not deceptive then, is it?
You think flat Earth
isn't deceptive then, is it,
You tell me, what is flat Earth, please? Tell me.
Brother, you're making no sense, really. It's the same as a globe. We know a globe's not a perfect, smooth fucking ball. It's got trees, hills,
What's flat
mountains,
Earth?
dips, valleys.
Define it for us.
Bab, shut the fuck up for a second.
Say
I wasn't
flat
even
Earth
done, brother.
is,
No, you're not listening.
and
This
then
dude don't
something
listen.
that you're
You
going to
don't even make
relate
no
it
sense.
to, if you can.
He's telling you what everybody's thinking and what everybody's doing in his own fucking mind. Just little one guy Bev's fucking thought land. Bev, listen. When Globers say round Earth, do you think they mean there's no mountains, dips, valleys, and hills on it, you idiot?
When they say sphere, they do say that. Yeah, and I say it's not a sphere. Obviously not a sphere, because there's
They
it's
say
not
it's so blank.
smooth, and spheres are, mathematical thing.
They give you a mathematical curve calculator, and
Who
they
does?
give you an oblate, the globe.
No. They say if they say it's a sphere, that's provably false, right?
Yes, if you want to be pedantic,
There you
yes,
go.
but we
Well, there you go.
generally it works the other way.
Well done.
It works the other way too, Bev.
Yeah.
Guess what? We
Yeah.
understand
I
that
know
they're
you
not
make
fucking talking
allowances.
about that.
Yeah, you make allowances.
Oh,
here we go. Here's another one of the similarities between these guys. If one group of people say that the Earth's flat and the other group says it's a sphere, right? Well, you can prove it's not a sphere because a sphere is a geometric object, right? And obviously the mountains and valleys prove that it's not a sphere because spheres don't have lumps and protuberances or anything like that. So you can prove it's not a sphere. But the globe guys don't want to say that because the flat earthers would be able to prove it's not a sphere. Much the same as the flat earthers are allowed to say it's flat when it's not actually flat.
Yeah, so basically it is nonsensical arguing because
it's a mutual
yes,
agreement, isn't it?
Yes, because Globers say that it is sphere, but it is not really sphere, and flat earthers say that it is Earth is flat, but really not flat.
Yeah, and much in the same way that we've explained tonight, they have this problem with perpendicular, right? It's perpendicular, but not really perpendicular. But we won't bother calling you on your perpendicular that's not really perpendicular because we also have a perpendicular that's not perpendicular. And it would be hypocritical of them to engage within these things between each other. So what they do, these guys, is both sides attack anybody that says these particular arguments. And they say nobody says that. And we say, well, yeah, nobody within the false dichotomy says that because they'd be exposing their own problems too. It's pretty obvious. Flat earthers, globe earthers, mutual agreement, model affliction.
Just keep talking over me.
And they'll make allowances for you. That's the way it works. Muted me. And one of these allowances
Who gives a shit? Because people aren't stupid. They loosely use terms in common conversation. It happens. Sorry for not being so, not just hyper-specific, but fucking extraordinarily fucking pedantic. Sorry about that. Oh, sorry, Bev. Sorry if it got on your nerves. Piss off.
Is that how you want me to go?
Yeah, well said. I'm glad that's been shut down because it's ridiculous. He's acting like an alien. He's acting like he's not even a human being. He knows.
Acting like I'm not even a human being.
The alien and how aliens behave, because I'm very curious.
Talking about straight, obviously, and pointing out to flat earthers that they've got ridiculous arguments. Yeah, this is the way they act. Remember, they've muted me now, so they're free to do this sort of thing, and this is what they do for a minute or so.
Well, none of us believe the Earth is flat like a pancake or table, so he's playing a game. He is not your friend, and he is not a friend of any of us in this community. In
Yeah,
fact, I'd say
friends
he's
are
not a
loads
friend of
people.
any.
Like, see, what right has he got to say that he's not your friend and he's not a friend of anybody? Like, what? Where did he get that from?
It's
a bit
not about
ridiculous.
friendship. It's about arguments,
Well,
truth,
arguments
etc.
and conversations, right? But obviously, friendship is important to this guy, and within this community, people think friendship is important. We just know that Roots, he'll be your friend. Don't worry about that.
Of the Globers either.
Imagine him
He's a
saying that.
maverick,
He's
and I'd probably
muted
say he's
me
an
now. He's
extraterrestrial.
doing this sort of stuff. Character. Extraterrestrial.
Chat GPT at the best. It's a see and say. You pull the string, they just keep repeating the same weird shit. I was trying to tell him it's the same both ways, brother. We if they say it's a round sphere, we understand there's trees, all this shit, and we know what they mean. They just say the idea of it's a sphere, and we say, okay, we're going to try to measure the idea of that. Do you have the measurements? We're going to try to back or confirm, and if we try to back or confirm, here we are today, flat Earth, no confirmation of a globe. That's all. We know there's hills, and dips, and valleys, and mountains. Nobody's arguing that. And if somebody was, yeah, if somebody was, that'd be dumb. That'd be fucking dumb.
Yeah.
I've heard Demok slip a couple of times and say the word planet. Like, I fucking didn't jump down his throat and say, hey, you're a flat earther, you're not supposed to say that.
Yeah.
You know, like, fucking hell, man. I know what he's talking about. He lets things fucking slide sometimes, man.
Yeah, I just actually mean dirt. The damn dirt we stand on, that's my planet.
There you go. I'm muted, so I decided to leave for a bit after they were talking about me. Now, I think that they were continued talking about me for a fair bit. I don't know how long the conversation happened, but we had, I forget his name again, Duncan Darth, is it?
Duncan Darth, yeah.
Who was pretending to, well, he wasn't pretending, he was a globe surveyor. Yeah, he came round here because I think he'd heard them talking about me. So I don't know, flat earthers, they're in a pretty bad way. Most flat earthers are at least willing to entertain the conversation that it's not actually flat. And they don't really get upset about it because, let's face it, reality will tell you quite obviously it's not actually flat. And if we know it's not flat, well, then at least we can have an agreement on something in reality. But these guys are struggling. Flat earthers, globe earthers alike. They all have a similar misunderstanding. And the way that these people treat you, they want you to join either one of these particular models. But both of them have contradictions. You have to accept a contradiction in order to take on either of the models. And then obviously you've got your teams and you can play team games. Maybe join the YouTube crew, right? And start having debates and conversations. You can talk about flat earth and the other guys can talk about globe earth. And you can both mutually agree to not expose the contradictions that you might hold as a group. That's one of the things that these guys have that keeps them together. The problem is for people like us, and I take it people that come in from reality outside and ask these questions, you would be asking questions that these guys have already made deals about to not mention. So how do you deal with that? I mean, nobody made me sign the NDA or whatever within this community, because, well, Oh, I haven't been made aware. If there is like a sort of a rider within the community of the flat Earth and globe Earth guys that says you can't mention perpendicular or straight because we both have a different understanding. I mean, I did come into this with the statement level is a straight line on a horizontal plane because I couldn't understand how they've been going on for so long, allowing both different sides to have different ideas of what level is. Because they still do. They still have this idea within the arena that level's different. Level for the globe guys is a big circle, and level for flat earthers, I think, is sea level. The same everywhere. Well, that's different than the reality idea of what level is. It's just a tool. It establishes horizontal plane of reference. You can establish that wherever you want.
Yeah, that seems to be superseded by the elevation angle now. It wasn't long ago that sea level was the thing that I saw as the definition of the flat bit, where the flat bit it was related to sea level, and now that isn't really spoken about. It's now the elevation angle because of this measuring the Earth flat, and the elevation angle
isn't the elevation angle like we're dealing with this going back to get Raven, and the understanding of the definitions and putting on the porphyry tree, right? The angle, the elevation angle, it doesn't precede the horizontal, does it? If you were to put these things on the porphyry tree to trace them, the horizontal would precede the elevation angle. So you can't have the elevation angle to establish the horizontal. It's backwards.
Yeah.
Yes, because elevation angle is angle from horizontal. So you need to have horizontal first because it is from horizontal. So without horizontal, you cannot say that you have elevation angle.
Yeah.
So this is prerequisite.
But again, that's another one of these topics of conversation that certain groups of people can't have. Being flat earthers, right? Because it involves a reasoning process, and that seems like a painful sort of thing to certain people. They do have like mortgages and stuff to, keep up with, maybe children or whatever. Maybe one of those special YouTubers with children that they need money to come through the YouTube to support the family with the houses or whatever. But I'm lucky enough to be a carer that I don't have to have that income to be able to keep myself going, right? This is something we do this for fun, really. It's amazing that we do it, really. We've been doing it for ages, but for no other reason really than to try and keep our own name, so we can have our own stuff put out there, so people don't get the wrong impression of us whenever they hear other people. But as you can hear from tonight, these people, they don't really want to have the conversations, and then when they do, they get upset that you've been in there. And you've been in there to talk to them. He thinks I'm not a human being for going in there and engaging them in conversation because they wanted me to talk to them. They called my name out. And he ends up by telling me I'm not a human being. I mean, it's accepted, right? Because if you come into this room and into this arena and you engage with flat earthers, whether it be Denmark or that guy there calling me not a human being, maybe it's Nathan Oakley, and you end up getting libeled, him saying that you've been in prison or something. Like that's the sort of stuff that you have to accept whenever you're coming into this arena. And maybe this arena is the entire internet. And if that's sad, really, because if this is what you can expect when you come onto the internet to try and find conversation, maybe you've got a few questions that you might want to ask people. You might think, God, it sounds terrible. They don't really know how to have conversations or anything, and you want to come in and try and sort it all out. Well, good luck. This is what you're gonna get. I don't know what's going on in the live chat as well, YouTube chat. People having discussions about geometry, is it? Do we have geometry discussions in the YouTube chat?
And there is a guy called Ajax. Chat, he's trying, I think, talk geometry, but maybe.
Geometry in the YouTube chat. I'd suggest if you want to talk about geometry, go to a geometry thing. Or come in and have a chat with us. I can't engage over there, but I mean, if that's what you want to do, you want to, please don't get the impression that whatever's going on in the chat has got anything to do with what we're doing tonight, because it doesn't appear to have anything to do with what we're talking about tonight at all. They might not even have us on. They might not be able to hear what we're talking about. They might just be engaging in the live chat, talking about something completely different. It does appear that way. So, yeah, we've got the idea. I've got this picture. Right, I will put it in the live chat. Now, here's the challenge for anyone. Take a screenshot of it, and can you please mark on there either north, south, east and west, or vertical and horizontal. If you're going to do the vertical and horizontal one, assume that it's on like a whiteboard, right? Your TV, you're looking at it, is on the vertical plane. And label those lines horizontal and vertical, please. And north, south, east and west in one. So if you could do two, mentally or whatever, depends how you want to talk about it. Base that on the understanding of perpendicular. Has anyone got that? If Ajax, if you're there, come on in the Discord. Just go and take a screenshot of that on the YouTube. Mark on it for us, will you? Vertical and horizontal. Just so we know where you stand. And because that seems to be what you were talking about. Perpendiculars. Maybe. I don't think he's listening. I think they're just having their own little conversation. So yeah, if anybody does want to try and do that, send us it into the Discord. You can get it to post it in the live chat, and then you'll be able to see what everybody else thinks of them. I think we can do it in the remix. Pen. Oh, my W didn't work. There you go. Done. Send. There you go. There's one for me. I'm going to put... now, don't cheat and copy off me. But that's the way I put north, south, east and west on that. I'll do another one. Oh, why Discord does that? Remix. Oh, come on. Oh. I'm putting all the horizontals on it. And did a quick one. There's the horizontals and verticals. You'll see that all of the horizontals are going from left to right across the page. That's what I'm calling a horizontal. And the up and down ones are called vertical. Yeah, thank you very much, Elder Bear. You were cheating. Are you sure you're not cheating off me? We seem to have
I wasn't cheating. No, I wasn't. And I hadn't thought about it earlier. I was on the roof cleaning the moss off the roof when you were talking about it earlier. So I didn't even see it, and yeah, so I quickly went away from the screen and found my phone because I had to copy it. Save the grid.
But it does. I think this shows, like there are 3 distinct groups. There's the group of people that can just literally write things on those pictures with no problem and post them. Boom, there you go. And then there's 2 other groups of people that will have to think really hard about what they're doing and likely to not even attempt it because it's that tricky.
Yeah, and quite honestly, I would have always put it like that.
Yeah.
Long before I came into this place, I would have always.
You can class yourself as just a normal person, can't you?
Yeah.
And do that when you do that, you go like, no problems doing that at all.
Yeah, it hasn't changed. I haven't had to think about it. I can see how some others now might, which I would have never conceived of before. But I could see how some other people might want to put it now. But yeah, I would never have thought of that possibility before, ever. Yeah. And I'm quite surprised that, when I speak to some people about horizontal and things like that, just, not in this world, just generally. I'm surprised how many people actually do go to a model. I have been really surprised. Yeah.
Well, we are in the arena, right? In this particular arena. And
yeah,
people
not here.
are
But
model.
yeah.
Oh, you're talking about out there,
outside.
right?
Yes,
right,
yeah. A couple of people have, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. And I said, oh, where did you get it? That's funny. Where you getting that from? And so they'd already got that in their head from somewhere. But I never ever thought about that concept that the globe talks about parallels and verticals and plumb bobs I just never saw it at all. It's really strange. Well, not strange at all. It's normal. But
well, that's handy
yeah.
that you've put them both on the picture, because you look at both of those right now. Here's the problem: if you're looking at that on the TV screen now, and you're looking at the north, south, east, and west, and thinking, oh, yeah, that's normal, and you're looking at those horizontals, 3 of them, and 3 verticals, thinking, yeah, there's no problem with that either. Well, there is. If you're a flat earther, I don't know how many flat earthers are watching or whatever on that one on the left, you're forced to put north at the center, and that circle becomes east and west, and every direction becomes south to the flat earth. And the one on the right, you can't have 3 verticals being parallel. You're just not allowed to do that. You can't have all 3 of them being vertical. So you've got a problem. But most people in reality wouldn't have a problem. So it's only the model it's a model induced problem. Oh, look at that. No rat. It's gone the extra mile. Nice. I like
That's quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it too. No rat is heading at the moment north by northeast.
Possibly. Yeah, but the idea of having north in the center and 4 souths is just like
it's crazy,
madness.
isn't
it? Yeah. But who'd have thought that there was anybody who had that idea? But there we go.
But it is interesting. We talked about earlier today is if Bev had taken the circle away, how would most people fill in that grid with either horizontal, vertical, or cardinal directions if the circle was not there? That's an interesting question. And would it change would any of those other groups of people, would it change their opinion if the circle wasn't there?
Yeah, I think I would have probably, with the cardinal directions, I would have probably put them, north at the top of all of the lines.
Yeah. Well, I still would. Yeah, I still
and south
would.
at the bottom, I would have thought about that, and then east
Yeah.
on all of them, west on all of them. So that would be the only difference for me. And I did think about that when I looked at it. I thought, well, no,
That's why I
it
did it
implies
like
the same
that,
thing.
because we're in the UK, right? Our grid north.
Yeah.
All of them are north, just the same as a horizontal and vertical. Like you can't say they're perpendicular, but then they're different. Like that's the whole point of this. The horizontal and the vertical being perpendicular is the same as north, south, east, and west being perpendicular. You can't have them both being perpendicular, but different.
Mm. And even seeing these concepts and hearing of them, I can't see it any differently. It's still perpendicular, whatever anybody else could say about it, really.
Yeah, because the
It just is.
horizontals and the verticals on the other one are still up and down, left
Yeah.
and right. Right? It doesn't matter where they are. They're still the same sort of thing, aren't they? The horizontals got left and right.
Yeah.
Which is that. I mean, if you have the idea that they're both perpendicular, then they have to be perpendicularly the same. Can't have them being perpendicular and different. But that's it's about an individual perception of things, and how I can't tell you or anybody else how to perceive what they imagine north and south, east and west to be. horizontal and vertical. All we can do is that we can have this communication through language. But if you're calling them perpendicular, then you know what that means. You can't have it meaning something different than perpendicular.
Yeah, it already has an identity, and once it has an identity, there's no contradicting it, getting away with it, and there's no trying to put it in the middle somewhere and identifying it with something else. It breaks the laws of logic. But hey, as we've said many times, right? 2024, break all the laws of logic that you like. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is just the beginning of it, because now we've sort of exposed, let's say. I mean, no, not a lot of people are, watching or anything, but there's still going to be questions. Now, be aware, right? These are things for you to take on, and try and resolve within yourself. Be careful about who you're talking to about these things, because you might be exposing somebody to a contradiction that they hold. And if you do, then be aware that this thing called cognitive dissonance, where anything could happen, really, because you're dealing with people's minds and two contradictory ideas that they may hold. And if they are holding these two contradictory ideas and you become the person that brings them together, well, then you will become the person that caused the cognitive dissonance to occur. And that's sometimes not a big it's not a good thing. You know, if you're not aware of how people react sometimes whenever they're exposed to this, then it can be a bit it's a bit troublesome to try and bring up the conversation, remember, because this is straight. Not many people are going to be ready for a conversation about what straight is.
Aren't we actually also talking about a vacuous truth? I mean, don't forget that.
Go on,
because
explain it for us, please.
So well, earlier on I've been kind of in and out, but earlier on it was at your position it's perpendicular, but then further out it's a circle. It's the same as somebody saying, well, let me go through the vacuous truth first. It's like saying all the cell phones in the room are off. But if you never go check in the room, then you don't know. You just have to take that person's word for it. But if you open the door and check in there and there's no cell phones in the room, well, then it's just a vacuous truth because they just said it, even though there's not any in there. I mean, they're, all the cell phones in the room are turned off.
Not necessarily a lie.
Yeah.
It's a statement of non-existence. So it's not a lie. It's a vacuous truth, a truth that means nothing.
So in a similar instance, I could say, or I wouldn't say this. What we've heard tonight, at your position, it is perpendicular, but to this place you can't go or see, it's a circle to a straight line or a circle to a circle.
Yeah, at the point, it was, it's the horizontal at a point, isn't it? That what they're dealing with here.
Yeah, that was what I was racking my brain. I was like, what is it that they're doing? Like because I can remember ages ago when it was talking about the water level early on, people like Rumpus and Kosher, like all these, Globers were like, it's only horizontal at the midpoint. It's like, well, what's that? It's not even a thing. Like that's like geometric misnomer. It's not like horizontal is a straight line from point to point A to point B, but they're saying it's only horizontal at a point, or horizontal is only perpendicular on that vertical at that point on the vertical, the plumb line. Like, what is that? But then they'll go on to say, yeah, I mean, level is horizontal locally. You can't tell the difference. It's what's the word? Not inconsequential. There was a word they always used that I always was like, that's something's not right about that, but I can't put my finger on it.
Insignificant? No.
Yeah, maybe it's it's not
Imperceptible.
insignificant. Imperceptible? Yeah, I think that's it. It's imperceptible. You can't really measure it. So I mean, yeah, on a local level, or on a local scale, level's horizontal. But it actually
For
it's
all
not.
intents and purposes.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah, there you go. But it's like, so when is it not? And we'll go, well, this large scale
what we
where
mean.
yeah, you know what we mean. Nicely put, yeah. But to me, it just seems like a vacuous truth when they say stuff like that, Yeah, east, west, north, and south, perpendicular. I mean, where you're at, but I mean, it is a circle.
Point is one of the things, but that's a monadic belief system, isn't it? Like reducing everything down to the point. It's what Rumpus did. It's what they do with calculus, right? They reduce the line to a point, and then they give all of the characteristics of the line to the point.
Well, then now you're talking about what's the Ayn Rand?
Stolen concept.
Now you're talking about a stolen concept. So the very thing that you use for calculus, which is Euclidean geometry, you want to discount Euclidean geometry.
Yeah, you have to place these things within calculus on a graph. And that graph is made up of straight lines. But then you relate the point to those axes of the graph to give all of the attributes of the line, the tangent or whatever to the point. I call it a magic trick, and it's where a lot of people go have trouble with mathematics, because that's where at that point it seems to not really make any sense and not relate to reality at all. But I mean, that's part of the magic trick, to try and get you to think of something but differently. And when you get to the straight line, then you're in trouble. Somebody's trying to tell you that straight line's different. And when a flat earther tells you that you're trying to obfuscate stuff and you're not a human being for wanting to talk about an attack on straight, that's being it's being performed right in front of everybody's eyes, I think. Particularly within this arena. They've been doing it for quite a while, but this is becoming more blatant now.
Yeah, this is getting crazy.
keep saying that. How could it get any worse?
Yeah. Just when I think they can't do anything crazy or say something more absurd, they go and just they do it.
Well, this now, right, to me, this is the end of the line type stuff, because it's pretty obvious that both of these groups have a geometric, I don't know whether to call it a misunderstanding, or that somehow they've got a contradiction, and they've incorporated that contradiction into their models. And if they want you to join this globe Earth or flat Earth thing, then you are required to take on this contradiction. And I think if, you know, as these guys do, they try and force you into the side. There's like one side of this group want you to be on the other side. So when somebody like a flat earther calls you a glober, they're actually telling you that you are holding a contradiction within that paradigm or whatever. And I think that's a weird thing to do. Particularly as now, I think it's making it closer and closer into the school system. And I don't know, I say I don't know, think the consequences of doing that over a few generations will cause major problems within the psychology of people. I don't know. I know it's 2024.
I think that already has.
I know, yeah. Say,
yep.
It's already made it into the teaching system, but you know, like with Charles the other day, he's obviously triggered about these sort of things, and even he struggled to talk about it. With everyone I've talked to so far about these things, they've said that latitude and longitude aren't perpendicular. One that seems to say that they are. Flat earthers have banned me, so I can't talk to the flat earthers and Nathan Oakley and the FED guys. They don't want to talk about it. 10th Man's become a mod on the YouTube channel and he doesn't want to hear about it. So he's banning any mention of is latitude and longitude perpendicular. It's like it's a no conversation amongst the flat earth debate guys.
It's become a no-go zone.
Yeah.
You can't.
Imagine having that.
Yeah. And all we're doing is talking about straight. You'd think he'd be able to talk about that with the flat earthers anyway. But apparently not.
Yeah. No, I mean, Nathan Oakley uses it as his proof, an angle to that light in the sky that you're going to call an angle, a latitude. Well, latitude and longitude. I mean, are they perpendicular? Are you allowed to talk about it? Is there an NDA gone out amongst the flat earth community to not allow them to say it? And how do we expose that? Do we just keep asking flat earthers whether, they know what perpendicular is?
That's actually a great point that I hadn't thought about, is if Nathan Oakley and his proof that an elevation angle is measuring the earth flat, how can that be if the elevation angle equals a latitude line, and a latitude line in their model is a circle?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his own housekeeping question says, can you have an angle from a circle? And their answer, of course, is no, never. But I guess you can if it's a latitude line that you conveniently call an elevation angle.
I don't know. I don't think they're allowed to talk about it.
They definitely won't talk about it, I'm sure.
And therefore, it comes up to you to ask the questions that they'll just ridicule you asking the questions.
Yeah,
So,
yes.
I mean, is there any point really?
No.
I think it's just worthwhile though, trying to get the this misunderstanding of perpendicular and how exactly the flat earth and the globe earth have a problem with them. Exposed with the drawings. I think those have get a whiteboard.
I was hoping you guys could address my screenshot.
Oh wow, look at that. It's dead small writing that. I don't know whether I might have to get that on my I can't read. Sorry guys, you're looking at that. I don't think we can read it. I will try and read it. All of it, May 28th. Yeah, Rob?
Yeah, all of it.
That. Okay. Jeremy says, is this Jeremy to you? Jeremy says, you think straight lines exist. It's one-dimensional. So many things wrong with the horizon being a straight line. So many things wrong with the horizon being a straight line. That's not even close to being true. In multiple ways, come in Geos tomorrow. We can talk about it. Oh, did you go in to Geos? Were you tempted in? Is he touting for business by doing this? Straight lines don't exist. Come to Geos. We'll talk. Rob says, reply, I will try, Jeremy. The horizon is always horizontal. Therefore, logical deduction concludes straight. A couple of things, Rob. I'd say the plane of the horizon is always horizontal. Because the horizon could be topographical and that's not really horizontal. But the plane of the horizon is horizontal. And Jeremy replies, if you are standing on a boat in the middle of the ocean and we put buoys at the horizon, the line where the water is, it would be curved, not straight. You would have to be able to see much farther to the side of you than directly in front of you. Curved. So Jeremy's finally, is Jeremy the next guy to turn then? Curved horizon. Or is that just a Geos thing? I don't know. What do you guys think of that? Jeremy saying that the horizon's curved.
But you cannot see that. He's talking about water because he's talking about buoys, and so it has to be in the water. But I don't know where he sees this curvature. But, you cannot see that.
If you're on a boat in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, still, I
don't know why putting buoys at the horizon would matter either, because the horizon's still there, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think that would make it curved by putting buoys there. But, I don't know, Jeremy.
Talking about buoys?
Yeah. You've got the horizon, you're on a boat, the horizon's over water, we call that the true horizon, horizontal. And Jeremy says if you put buoys there, it makes the horizon curve, the horizontal horizon curve, true horizon. It makes it curve. So, I mean, there's another one, Jeremy. I'm guessing that's because this straight line thing. You can't have straight lines. It's taken over.
Well, another one that's a straight line doesn't exist in reality because it's 1D. Is that how you read that first one?
I think straight lines exist. It's one-dimensional. Well, yeah, it's the shortest distance between 2 points.
I wonder how much of this is coming out of Shane's model.
Yeah, but this is like a straight line. Geometric is the shortest distance between 2 points. And because it's 1D, right, it's not drawn. It doesn't, it's not actually there. But the shortest distance between those 2 points, that is there.
Yes, distance, there is distance, but
Yeah.
even if you cannot draw that distance, it doesn't mean that it cannot exist. It's just a non sequitur. Because you cannot draw air, but we know that air exists. So following that kind of quote unquote logic, it would mean that air does not exist. Because
Yeah, but
you cannot...
no, it doesn't need, you don't need to go to air. We're talking about the fundamentals of geometry. We're talking about the straight line. And there's 2 points. If there are 2 points in reality, doesn't matter where you put them, you can say that the straight line is the shortest distance between those 2 points. I mean, that's
well, then I suppose
definitely there.
I would suppose that given what Jeremy has said here, that he would say a point is that which has no parts, so it also can't exist in reality. So you can't have a point, so you can't have straight lines, right? If you can't have 2 points, you can't
That's
have
what
a
he's
straight
trying to
line
get
between
to.
2. Yeah,
Right, it's a
I think so.
misunderstanding of the geometric concepts.
In addition to that, it is self-killing argument, because if someone is saying that there are no straight lines in nature, like this actor, so there are no lines in nature, so also curved. So curved lines cannot exist also. So it is mute point, because if someone is trying to say that because straight lines don't exist, it means that curved line can exist. No, they cannot exist also. So you cannot argue. You cannot start argument with that, because you will kill your own argument. It's just nonsense to do that.
But I mean, good on Jeremy. At least Jeremy's willing to talk about the straight lines, which it's a little bit more than. I mean, is he still a flat earther, or has he gone for the curved horizon? Are you allowed to be a flat earther with the curved horizon?
Why not? Contradictions.
Well, I
fine.
I suppose you could be all
No
sorts
problem.
nowadays. Doesn't really matter,
Right?
does it? Yeah.
Nope. Nope, doesn't matter at all.
I wonder whether he has the hump or the double drop. Higher in the middle. Hard to tell. Wonder whether all of the verticals would be perpendicular to it. Could you have the horizon being curved, but the plane of the horizon being horizontal? RH asking for the best globe evidence. Well, like, surely it has to be the contradiction, right? It's the same for flat Earth as well. It's like you cannot have a flat Earth model or a globe Earth model unless you accept the contradictions. Because they'll go and tell a globe guy or a flat earther that, you don't have this contradiction. And they won't allow you in their group. They'll tell you you're not a human. You're an ET. You should be moved out of this particular group. Ban him. Get rid of him. So that's a good proof, isn't it? Isn't that the type of proof that you, because you're never going to have any other proofs of any of these models, but you can have proof that you have to accept a contradiction in order to join the club. Would you not say? Is that not a proof that you can't have the model intact without accepting a contradiction? Okay, I'll ask it this way, right? Can you have a traditional dogmatic globe model with the understanding that horizontal and vertical are perpendicular geometrically, with no ifs or buts or contradictions or apart froms, just a direct horizontal, vertical, perpendicular? Can you have a globe model with that as your base assumption?
No, you cannot have that, and flat earth math explained that.
Okay.
Because he said explicitly that if you are moving from your point of tangency or whatever, this line that you are on, it is no longer horizontal. So
can you have a flat earth model on the understanding that north, south, and east and west are perpendicular, with a geometric understanding of perpendicular, with no ifs, ands, or buts?
Personally, I could, but some other people cannot explain themselves, so they have trouble. But this is their trouble, not mine. I can, personally, because I have no problem with north, south, east, west being perpendicular. For me, it's not a problem.
Yeah, I have. Everybody incorporates that into their model. The question is, can you have the flat Earth model that has east and west as circles?
Maybe, but it's not my, let's say, understanding. But some people are confusing things, so they have problem. Yes, but I personally, I don't have that problem. So I would say that you can have this model. You could have, but with let's say proper distinctions. But people are confusing things, so then they have problems. But not me.
It's interesting. Obviously, the topic of conversation around here is about making arguments, but also exposing these little contradictions. So this one obviously will never go away from now on in. It's one of those contradictions that you have to hold if you're expected to take on these models. Now, I would expect a lot of people have taken on these models, but they're unaware of the contradictions. And when you do talk to them about it, you will be exposing them to this cognitive dissonance. So beware.
Yes, they have problem. Flat earthers have problem with latitude and longitude lines. So of course, being this angle, elevation, or whatever to Polaris and latitude, that would make it a circle. So it cannot be perpendicular, of course. So if they say that they are perpendicular, it's not according to their model. Absolutely, it cannot be. So they have problem.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have been like, this isn't us having a go at the flat earthers, and it never has been. But a couple of times we've heard conversations where now, obviously, the globe guys, the flat earthers haven't learned about, well, basically, they've not took on what we were saying, and they've not seen our queries to what they were saying, and they've ignored it. And now there are a few globe guys that are also pointing out the same problems. And obviously that's not going to go down well, because now they can't admit of their failings to anyone. And now flat earthers and globe earthers are, well, the communication is broke down, let's say. Flat earthers don't like talking to anybody about their model, but they do like trying to get other people to prove the model that isn't theirs, the one that they don't think's real, and they get really upset. Some of the times they, ban people, but mainly the people whose heads are on the chopping blocks are the people like us. I consider us as being the people that, that know vertical and horizontal are perpendicular, and the east, north, south, east and west, they're also perpendicular, and they're perpendicular in the same way.
I think that both sides of this false dichotomy they are going in the same direction, unfortunately, because both sides are getting rid of geometry. So globers are trying to incorporate some kind of spherical geometry, which does not exist. But at the same time, or now, people like Nathan Oakley and Whitsitt, they are just getting rid of geometry at all, because Nathan Oakley is saying that this point is not geometrical, and Whitsitt is also saying is trying to deny geometry and straight line, talking about vibrating straight lines or whatever. So both sides are denying Euclidean geometry in different ways, but they are. So for me, it is sign that they are in fact not on opposite sides.
It's not just that they're denying Euclidean geometry, they're denying the base concepts of logic.
Yeah.
Right? This isn't just geometry, because it's such a base level that you have to say this is linked to logic rather than geometry, because you're not really giving the full the idea of what actually is going on here. Like the idea of straight isn't a geometric one, it's a logical understanding. There's no other way that it could be.
Yes, that's why in ancient times nobody argued with that, because there is nothing to argue with, because it's obvious thing. So everyone, Plato, Aristotle, Euclid, and ancient natural philosophers, they didn't argue that, because how can you argue straight line? It's just nonsense. So it is given from ancient times. So nobody argued that.
And to think, when I go back to when I first came to this arena, said level is a straight line on a horizontal plane, and I did like my first ever debate with Fight the Flat Earth. That was about straight and level, like straight. The actual title of the debate that I had, my first debate, was straight. And Fight the Flat Earth said that straight lines can curve. So he said it right at the beginning. Shocked me. I never expected anybody to ever hear anybody say that. but Fight the Flat Earth, that was my initiation. Talking to people, it's never changed. 5 years later, and they've got a guy called Terrence Howard, an actor, telling Joe Rogan that straight isn't.
Yeah, when people say that, like, fight the flat earth, that straight line can curve, it is a strange language for me, because what does it mean that it can, or it is straight or it is not straight? If straight line can curve, and you curved straight line, therefore there is no longer straight line, so it is not a straight line. So for me it is just nonsense.
Yeah, he said parallel lines intersect. It was another one.
No, it's just straightforward nonsense. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was my initiation to this arena. I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't ready for somebody saying that. I was literally shocked that how somebody in a debate setting could go and say something so ridiculous. But now you've got somebody like Terrence Howard saying it to Joe Rogan. Similar thing. Straight lines don't exist, then parallel lines don't exist. There's no such thing. And if there's no such thing as straight lines or parallel lines, then you can forget about Euclidean geometry. You can forget about pi. Unless you want to have this idea of a contradiction where you can still have Euclidean geometry and the concepts of it, and pi existing being the ratio, and you can also have straight lines not existing as well. I mean, that would be 2024, right? To both have and to have not. Welcome to 2024. And come and attempt to have a debate with the flat earthers if you want, but just be aware that they're dilithious. They'll have both this and that and not that at the same time. And they'll change, swap and change. It says, I don't think Terence was attacking straight in the same physical sense. All he's saying that is if everything is vibrating, then nothing is truly straight. No, that's what he said. He said nothing is to do with globe or flat. He literally said they invented straight because they thought the earth was flat. That's definitely got something to do with him trying to bring in the flat earth model and connect it to straight.
Yes, he said, this Howard said that the straight line was invented because of flat earth.
And because the church was promoting it.
Yes,
the church was promoting
for
it because
6,000 years. Yeah.
Flat earth. And it was Whitsitt that said about the vibrations. And I don't know what Terence was talking about. I don't think he was talking about vibrations.
No, it was Whitsitt.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous because straight line doesn't move. So lines don't move.
Yeah, the shortest distance between 2 points isn't affected by vibrations.
Yeah. It doesn't change distance.
Mm-hmm.
If you are pulling the string on guitar, it doesn't change distance between 2 points, between two given points. It's just ridiculous.
It's getting harder and harder to communicate within this arena, and the lines of communication are being shut down. If anybody is finding it difficult to talk to anybody, then come on into the Discord. We can have conversations. We do have conversations. We've had some conversations today with a guy who's a globe surveyor. He reduced horizontal to a point. He even said that horizontal have a change in elevation. He was unable to say what the change in elevation was, but he did say that he thought horizontals change in elevation. It's a model affliction type thing. He'd also claimed to have measured the tilt of the vertical as well, like at some other globe surveyors, like some guy that probably didn't live in Maine. Interesting. So we only started talking about that other guy, that Baron Rutledge, the other day, and so all of a sudden somebody's coming back saying that they've done it. Nobody even knew about him being a surveyor till he came in and told us that he was a surveyor. We might be able to put that conversation out. I might have to put it on the list. But I mean, these conversations that we have, they're getting old. It's just giving air to people talking shit. Like, I consider them mad people talking rubbish. So I don't know whether to actually put them out or not. I don't know whether to feel sorry for them. I don't know. You shouldn't mock people who are having serious problems. No matter how much they lie about you or talk shit and try and gaslight everybody else about you and tell everybody how bad you are, how inhumane you are. I think it's troubling, and I don't know. I don't know how we can be helping them. I don't know whether bringing it to light helps people. Or whether it just makes them hate us even more. Does it make them think we're more alien because we're talking about them? I don't know. What time is it? It's 11. I was thinking today I'm going to start going over the videos, but I don't know. We might sit around during the day if we've got a bit of time off. I might put these videos on, and as we're going over them, put it out to the live people. Is everybody be all right with that? It might be 3 or 4 hours earlier. Doesn't really matter because we'll still go over them anyway. Yeah, we're going to go back over the Trivium, but some of the old stuff with Raven, have a bit of a tribute to Raven. It's been 5 years now that I've been on YouTube, so the anniversary, 5-year anniversary's passed. We missed it. I should have had a big do for 5 years. Woo, YouTube for 5 years. But I mean, it's gone by in no time. Yeah, I'll try and write these up into some sort of an argument. I don't know what to call it yet. I've still not really formulated it, how to express it in a simple way yet. If you're out there and you want to come in and join us, come to the Discord, and we have many of these conversations. If you have a good way that you think you could link these two contradictory, opposing definitions of perpendicular and link them together, then come and let us know. It's got to be geometric. I'll try my best. Maybe if I try and then somebody says, that video, you've done it wrong, you can come in and explain to us what's wrong about it. I'll just do my best. We're here to try and make sense of nonsense, which we're doing a pretty good job of it, I think. At least we're keeping our heads straight talking about this. I can't imagine what it'd be like living within these contradictions and not realizing. Maybe that's what's up with the guys. Anyone got any preferences for a Buster song before we go? I've got to go and do me AI images for the day. Don't need rumpus again, do we? Give you a bit of time. Anyone out there? Somebody said something. Who said that? Somebody said something last time. Can't remember.
About broken lines. Or sorry, broken minds.
Which one's that?
No, I'm saying that people have broken minds.
They do. We're after
I just wanted
a
to
song for
chime
Buster.
in. Oh. What did we play yesterday?
I don't know. I'm going to do Who Will, because this one's the one that I'm going to be making a video of, so I'd like to hear it. Just to go over it, see what sort of images I can get in my mind. Buster, Who Will? If we don't do it, who will? It's rather fitting, isn't it? Okay, thanks for joining us. We are going to be back again on Friday, but who knows? We might be back tomorrow to do go over. I've got a couple of videos I'd like to go over. I want to do a series on straight, so I want to cut a few bits of individual videos, and I want to go over the Raven stuff, the old Trivium. Because that's like 3 years ago nearly. That'll bring back some memories. Okay, thank you very much. Join us again whenever we're live again. But we will be back Friday for the scheduled On The Level live. See you then.
Hey, I'm really sorry. I had to step away, but I'm going to go back and listen to what your response was.
Yeah, see you on right now.
I see the writing on the wall, it's plain. Ramblings of his madman going insane. And now I see it clear. They're running and they're hiding because of fear. communicate with logic, if I don't sing, if I don't speak out, if I never receive the logos. Transcendental numbers and conceptual maths will take you on a journey down a Penrose path, and you'll never see it clear. The path that you're on will be ends in tears. If I don't sing and if I don't speak out, if I never communicate with logic or will, if I don't sing and if I don't speak out, if I never receive the logos or will. Cast away the shadows and step into light. Taking down giants and open inside. And now I see it clear. The path that you're on ends in fear. speak out if I never communicate with logical will? If I don't sing out, if I don't speak out, if I never receive a logos will.
That was good. That was good.